Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Had Heartbreak and Became the Incarnation of Lust movie. Before we start, please go support Vitox44 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. First it was a gray-haired beauty who hurt me with her lies. I got back up only for a black-haired magic girl lover to leave me aside because of her stupid obsession. That's how little by little I was used and discarded as consolation by several more women. But now you want to come back to my side? Do you think I still have feelings for you after all? Since the last attempt with an angel who swore total devotion to me and back I was left as simple garbage, I swore to stop thinking about getting together. From now on the relationship was put aside and debauchery dictates my direction. One-night stands, obviously, fleeting relationships. Welcome. Acquaintances with benefits is the only thing that allows one to enjoy without fear of being left, since no such situation exists in open relationships. I am Lusty Eay Lust, and like my last name, I am the reincarnation of lust itself. Chapter 1, Return First X. Faction Meeting Core Academy. In the room you could see three different types of races gathered. On the side of the fallen we have the leader of Graia Aazel being accompanied by Valley. Of the angels we have Michael being their leader along with his brother Uriel and Irina. Finally on the side of the demons we have the Mahu Lucifer Issei being escorted by his queen and wife Graia Lucifugo. All of them were present in front of the Citri and Gremry entourages being led by the sisters of the current Lucifer and Leviathan. The subject of the meeting is to talk about the recent attempt of occupation that their races had in the territory of the demons directed at the hands of the two Aries. They would discuss why the angels and the fallen had outposts in their territories. Issei, well, since we are all present today, let's start this. First, why are your races trying to occupy the land of our people being guarded by the two Aries here present? He spoke flatly while joining his hands in front of his face, staring at the two leaders in front of him. Michael, in my case, a while back they started stealing fragments of sacred swords from our adjacent territories. So by tracking them we were able to detect that their energy signature reached this territory where we assumed the captors who stole them have them, which was an army of fallen angels responsible. Aazel, in my defense, they are a group outside my line of command, renegades if you want to say so, so trying to prevent it from escalating much further, I sent a small army to intercept them before they do anything more that harms my race. Issei, doesn't that explain why we weren't warned before having your troops stationed here? Aazel, it happened too fast for us to worry about that. Tell me, if just in case one of them hurt your sister, how would you react, Issei? Would you go directly to my territory to avenge her without thinking about the conflict that would trigger because of it between the fragile truce we have on our shoulders? Michael, even if that's true, it didn't give us enough time to respond in the standard way. We assumed that the reason for stealing the swords was to have a weapon against them, and when we saw that they chose this zone we assumed that the targets were the sisters of two Mahus, so we decided to act and prevent before regretting our late response. Issei, I see, this started because a certain person couldn't keep his subordinates in check, right? Aazel, don't think it's easy. Besides, if it comes to that, your renegade demons are not far behind in this either. Many of them attacked my people, so they were only dealt with very superficially, and no problems were sought with you for it, so you have nothing to reproach my group for. The only one that can be half saved are the angels, because if they did they would become my side, ignoring the priests who go crazy. Michael, it's still our fault, since several priests in our ranks apparently helped in the robbery. Issei, perfect. This is a problem now. Supposing what would happen with the warmongers on my side who want to put an end to the biblical war of 3 centuries ago. This is more than enough for them to bother us with acting as if it were a clear declaration of war from both sides to ours. Damn it. We still can't live peacefully after 300 years of the ceasefire, perhaps. This received several confirmations from Aazel and Michael, while the two entourages were silent due to the fact of witnessing what would be a possible restart of the war. Aazel, we can solve this in a very easy way. In fact, think about it. In these cases where our races are on the verge of unleashing a new war for anything, it is necessary to have a group that specializes in solving problems of this style where the 3 factions are in conflict, and to solve it we can make it made up of the 3 races together. Think of it as a single union, a sign that we can work and trust each other. It will promote the idea of a peace treaty between us. Michael, the proposal is not bad, But there should be an extra race because there would still be conflicts in daily coexistence, preferably someone neutral to our situation and capable of taking the reins in the group as its leader. Sir Shay, if that is the case, why don't we make my sister? Azazel: No, Sir Shay, the group must deal with very delicate issues where political matters will be discussed, so young people would not be the most appropriate, and more considering how impertinent she is. If that were the case, I would choose the heiress Citri to be there instead of your sister. I'm sorry if it bothers you, but we are talking about a group of people who will go to other factions to solve the problems that exist. Michael: I agree, even though I'm your Sir Shay, I must say that I don't think your sister is the right person to form the group. They may be in it, but she won't be the leader in this matter. As they discussed this further, Rias felt offended for not being considered a suitable leader to form the group, but it was the leaders who were speaking, so she couldn't express her disagreements freely. Azazel: Then let's let the neutral side lead the group. In fact, I have the perfect person to do it, by the way. He's someone serious, although the way I met him was quite striking. He's a guy who takes these issues seriously. In fact, he's already managed to solve certain matters of this caliber for me before, so he has experience in the case. Sir Shay: And could you introduce him to us now if possible, so we can get to know him and give him the idea behind the idea, since he will be the leader of the group? Azazel: Leave me and make a call, since I should be at my happy hour meeting him now. Azazel got up and went to a corner, taking out a phone to dial a number. Azazel: I hope he's finishing his business, or else he'll kill me for bothering him. Change of scene. In a hotel in the city, you could hear in a room two people having sex. Come on, mommy, move those hips faster, or else you won't even be able to beat me at this. Lemon skipped. Azazel/Cell: I see you still have the sexual beast streak with my race. But I seriously need you here, and now the other leaders want to meet you, so you need to come. Lusty Eay. Lusty Eay: Seriously, the leaders? Damn, I'll be right there. I'll go in a teleportation circle. Don't attack me, you know what my logo is, so wait for me. I'll be there in 5. Alright, little one, my time's up, so I'll do it quickly, but that doesn't mean it'll be light. It'll be very pleasurable and tortuous. But knowing you, you like rough hex, so. Due to the lack of time, Lusty Eay began to be much harder as he penetrated the fallen woman mercilessly, making her moan from the rudeness of what he was doing to her, although from her face she was enjoying it quite a bit. Meeting of factions. Azazel was returning to the table under everyone's gaze, although everyone had a look of curiosity because they could hear moans from the other side. The girls in the entourage were blushing, while Issei and Saji were surprised and jealous about that. For her part, Graia was very thoughtful because the man's voice was very familiar to her, as well as his name, Lusty Eay. She knew that name but did not know where from. Azazel: I already confirmed, he'll be here in 5 minutes. He's a little busy, so he'll finish soon. Sir Shay: If the voice of the fall showed that he was busy at the moment. Azazel: You must understand, after all, at this time it is more than likely that many men are doing it, so what happened is common. Michael: That makes sense, after all it is common in their breed. Azazel: That sounded very offensive to me and my people. Michael: But I'm right. Azazel: But you're right, ha ha ha, except that he's not a fallen one. Sir Shay: So what race is he? Azazel: It is very complicated to say. If you want to know, it must be confidential. Your race, understood. What is said here must remain between us, understood. Sir Shay: Understood. Azazel: Everyone heard. None of this information leaves this place under any circumstances. Everyone nodded, including the entourages, although Rias and Sona showed interest because of this. Azazel: It is a species that was believed to be extinct years ago, or rather I would say that it is a mixed species of two races that cannot coexist due to their opposite origins. Michael: What a mixed species Azazel is. Azazel: He's half incubus on his mother's side. Sir Shay: Wait, Azazel, does he seriously have blood of that race, which can basically reproduce without any problem with different species? Michael: You're right to want it to be confidential. Basically a race that is completely extinct and can produce children from the purity of the couple of any species is a sensitive subject. Sir Shay: Azazel, tell me, is he the only one alive? If the council finds out about his existence, they'll want to capture him to have pure blood offspring. Azazel, he's the only one alive, but I recommend you not provoke him and keep those old farts away from him. After all, his second half is dangerous for your race. Issei, what race is your second half for you to say that? Azazel, Michael, tell me, can an angel have a child without falling? Michael, that's impossible. As soon as they did it, they would fall for lust because I mentioned it. Wait, Azazel, tell me if it's not what I think. Azazel, exactly. His other part, as you suppose, is angel on his father's side and succubus on his mother's side. Michael, that is impossible. She would have fallen before I managed to get her pregnant. How can that be possible? Azazel, apparently so, and I verified that he is half incubus and half angel. Even having relations, he has not yet become fallen. Apparently he can cancel the fact of falling to lust in some way. Michael, I need to know more about this. Azazel, if what you say is true, it is possible that he knows how to make angels be born naturally without the fear of falling because of it. Issei, regarding your parents? Azazel, they are dead. They have been dead for a long time. I will tell you now. He seems young, but he is not. He is very old, almost our age. He knows many things. That is why I want this to be kept confidential. His angel part is of warrior origin, of the same species as Metatron. I would say that even his father was one of his soldiers during the first wars where many fell, so it must have been in one of them where his biological father died. As for his mother, I have no information other than she is dead, as is his father. Everyone was silenced by the information given. A species that is basically capable of reproducing with any species and achieving a pregnancy in a guaranteed way for its partner is not simple, and even more so if that child manages to obtain the mother's blood in a pure way without any change if he wishes. But before anyone could ask anything else, in the middle of the room a magic circle appeared from which Lusty Eay appeared, who was in front of everyone, although he only saw Azazel without noticing the gaze of the young girls present due to his appearance, and the astonished look that the queen and wife of Issei gave him when she recognized him. Lusty Eay, Azazel has arrived. Can we start this now, since I have pending matters to resolve? Azazel was about to introduce him to everyone when Graia started walking towards the guests, being seen by everyone because they did not know the reason for that action. Graia, Lust, is that you? She said with a tearful and broken voice, surprising Issei and Aries with that. Lusty Eay turned his head, finding himself facing the person he least expected to see that day. After all, she was the first to hurt him during his youth. Lusty Eay, Azazel, I think I came at a bad time, so I want you to apologize on my behalf for leaving like this, but something of utmost importance came up, he said with a blank and serious look, disappearing without warning from the place under the astonished gaze of everyone and the afflicted look of Graia. Chapter 2, Random Stress Relief. The atmosphere in the meeting was very cold. They did not expect Azazel's contact to suddenly leave because he saw Graia, while the aforementioned was crying in the middle of the room. Everyone who knew her stoic way of being were surprised to see her in such a fragile state. Azazel had his conjectures as to why this was because he knew Lusty Eay and his past life before the current one. He was about to speak when the whole place began to freeze, attracting attention. Without warning, he was surrounded by an ice prison that locked him up under the astonished gaze of those present. Graia just got up and faced the frozen Azazel as she continued to cry. Graia, where? Where is he? Where did he go? I need to see him again. Azazel? Where is he living? Tell me, tell me. Everyone came to their senses upon hearing his broken voice as he spoke about this. Lusty Eay, Azazel couldn't respond because the ice was enveloping him even more so. Before this escalated further, Issei freed him from the ice prison with his power while standing between Graia and him. Issei, Graia, calm down. Attacking Azazel could generate a war between his people and Ours. What do you think you're doing? Graia, Issei. Issei, retire to the family mansion, then we will talk about why this happened. Now I need to fix this situation. Aries, accompany her. Go to mother and tell her everything that happened. I will return as soon as this calms down. Aries just nodded as she helped Graia get up from her place, and they retreated through a magic circle to her parents' home. Issei, for his part, looked at Azazel, who was barely able to get up with Vala's help from his previous frozen state. Issei, sorry Azazel, I didn't think she would act that way when she saw your acquaintance. I hope this doesn't cause more tension among our people. Vala, Are you playing demon? That woman almost killed Aazel with her attack, and you think we're going to let it pass like that? Aazel, okay, wait, calm down. I think I understand your reaction at that moment. After all, it has to do with your past and Lusty Eay's. Everyone was confused when they heard him. Apparently he was aware of what was happening between Search's wife and his colleague Lusty Eay. Search, Aazel, do you know why my wife reacted like that when she saw this Lusty Eay? Aazel, you could say yes, Search, but I don't know if you like what I know about them. It's not bad at all, but due to certain events the relationship between both is not very good, at least on Lusty Eay's part. Search, what do you mean, Aazel, with that? Aazel, what I'm trying to tell you is that they've known each other since before the Great Holy War. Michael, could you tell us what relationship you both had that made you end up like this? Aazel, this will take a while, but I don't think you mind if I tell you your story. Gremory Mansion Main Hall. The Gremory couple were sitting in the living room drinking tea while talking about the times and other things. Venelana was remembering the days when her son was looking for suitors to marry, while Zeoticus was remembering his times when he was in that womanizing era that he missed so much. The relationship between the two was very strange. Although they appeared as married, the spark of that love had already been extinguished, so they both decided to end on good terms. Although due to their status they still remained together for appearances, but the relationship now could be considered as friends instead of couples. No one apart from them knew about this. Even their children were not aware because they planned to tell them when Rias took control of the clan and they retired. But right now, before they could continue talking, they saw how in the middle of the room Rias and Graia appeared accompanied by her daughter's entourage, while Graia herself was crying on Rias's shoulders. Venelana, daughter, what happened? Why is Graia like this? Zeoticus, did something happen between her and Search for her to be like that? Rias was thrown off by the questions that were obviously directed first at her brother as the instigator of the problem, but she managed to straighten up and support Graia, who was still crying, on a chair, to turn to her parents and speak. Rias, no, this has nothing to do with my brother. I really don't know, but Graia is like this because a colleague of the fallen angels appeared that she apparently knew. After that I don't know many more because she attacked the leader of the fallen and brother sent me home with her so that nothing else would happen and she could fix the mess on her own. Venelana, Graia, what happened? Why are you like this? Who was that man? Graia just looked up completely haggard, which impacted the Gremory patriarchs as well as the rest. Graia, it was my fault. I caused this by leaving him. I forgot about it for so many years. I'm a stupid madam. Venelana, what are you talking about, Graia? What relationship do you have with him? Graia, he was my first love. He was the man who stole my heart during my youth. That shocked those present due to the discovery. Graia, but as always I was stupid and I abandoned him for centuries only for when I remembered him. He was no longer in the place where we swore to be together forever and decided to wait for each other in case of any problem. Venelana, Graia, was he? Graia, yes, he was the first man. He was the one I gave my purity to, the one I swore to love no matter what, the one I chose to give me his children. But I lost him after all, and now he didn't even want to see me or talk to me again. I thought he was dead, I thought I had lost him, but all this is because of my incompetence. I shouldn't have abandoned him. I shouldn't have married his son. I loved him and so did he, but I couldn't keep that love because of my stupid revenge. Venelana was surprised by the words she was saying, just like the others. She was saying that she shouldn't have married Search, that she should have gone after this man who swore to love her, the one who stole her heart before she even met her son. No one knew what to say to the tearful Graia. They didn't quite understand the situation, but… Search, so he was the man who had stolen your heart before you met Graia. He knew he wasn't the first, and he never would be. After all, you always had him in your heart even after so much time. Search's voice alerted everyone. After all, finding out that his wife who was with him for centuries had feelings for another was not something very easy to digest. They feared that he would lose control and attack Graia because of that. Venelana and Zeoticus, quickly anticipating this, they put themselves between him and Graia in case something happened, but the look of their son dispelled those thoughts. He was not angry, he was sad and melancholic. Search, Graia, We can talk about this matter in private. After this, you're free to do whatever you want with your life, but please, I need to know what you truly think and desire. Graia just raised her gaze and stared at him, understanding what he wanted to know, so she got up and went with him to his room to talk about this matter. Lusty Eay. This same one was sitting in front of the bank of a stream located somewhere in the world thinking about the encounter with that person who hurt him. He did not expect to see one of the many women who played with his feelings during his youth in that place. He regretted having gone. Now she knows that he is alive, and she knew that she would surely look for him for answers. Although she should not give them to him after all she played with him and left him, then he disappeared from all the supernatural radar until a few years ago where she met Aazel on one of her trips. Lusty Eay, what a crappy fate I had. I was so happy because I finally managed to forget about them, and now that I did, one of them just has to appear in front of me. I should have remained anonymous. With his magic he lit a cigar and took a drag, feeling the bitter taste of tobacco in his lungs, and then released it with a sigh, relaxing himself. He quickly leaned back against a tree while watching the reflection of the night in the stream. He summoned an old player and played one of his files, playing an old song. Lusty Eay, moments like this are where one can disconnect from the world and go to their happy place. It's a shame that these moments don't last long, because one always has to wake up and face reality sooner or later. He took another drag, calming down again only to make an old proposal to him from a certain woman who was always ready if he needed it to let off steam. Actually, Lusty Eay, maybe it's time for me to pay her a visit. It's been a long time since I had a good competitor in bed. After all, she was the only one who could stand up to me, at least until I got into that mode. He invoked a circle in his ear, wanting the person on the other end to contact him. After all, she was always willing to do so with him due to her heightened sexual nature. Hi Lusty Eay, it's been so long since I heard from you. Tell me, is that what you wanted to see me again for? Her voice was soft and flirtatious. It would make any man hum just by listening to it. But he wasn't just any man. He was different. He would need more than that to make her hum for real. Lusty Eay, you're still sounding just as flirtatious and lustful as last time, dear, but yes, I need to let off some steam. After all, you're the one who mostly gives me a hard time in bed. What are you saying? Are you available right now? I'm always available for you, Lusty Eay. After all, you're the only man who managed to defeat me in Hex and continues to do so even after so many years. Lusty Eay, obviously, after all, I am an incubus. I am basically a male version of you with greater resistance and endurance due to my other part. I know, darling, I know. I'm the only one you can let loose with completely, but well, right now I'm free if you need it. Besides, lately I can't find a way to hum. You just ended up destroying my expectations and other men you know. Lusty Eay, what can I say? I already warned you the first time. After being with me for one night, no one else but me will be able to satisfy you again. That's the curse of challenging an incubus in its comfort zone and letting it run wild. Ha ha ha, yes, well, I'll be waiting for you in my temple. I'll send one of my maids to look for you so you don't have problems with the other gods. Lusty Eay, okay, I'll be there soon. I just hope I don't run into your sisters. Last time I almost got an arrow in my head because they thought I raped you because of the way you were moaning. I'm sorry about that, but at least I clarified your identity afterward. Although Artemis was almost about to kill you again when she found out about your race. Lusty Eay, and don't forget Athena Aphrodite, she almost caught me just to study me as the last surviving specimen of my race. Aphrodite, well, I'll be waiting for you, so don't be long, Lusty Eay. Lusty Eay, see you soon, Aphrodite. Prepare those buttocks for me since I'm very stressed and I can't assure you of your safety after this. Aphrodite, I hope so, Lusty Eay, goodbye. The communication circle was cut off after that. Lusty Eay just looked at the moon while he took the last puff of his cigar and got up, starting to clean himself up a bit and remove the smell of smoke from his body, proceeding to teleport to the gates of Olympus, heading to Aphrodite's room, or rather to her bed. Chapter 3 Encounter. Surprising was at least the story of the old relationship that Sona Citri heard about the current colleague of Aazel, Lusty Eay, and the wife of the Mahu Lucifer. She was totally shocked to hear that this Lusty Eay was of a mixed race, a very peculiar one, half angel and half incubus. two very opposite poles between them. In addition to that, he was even Graia's former partner. This news would shake many foundations in the underworld, but for Sona, this was not relevant. She had a very different way of thinking than the conventional. This Lusty Eay, although it was noticeable that he was very experienced in terms of sexual activities. Also noticed that he was someone straight and firm when needed. The calm and serious attitude he showed when he saw Graia showed it. He had good control of his emotions despite being a half-breed, which was surprising since it was seen that the mixture of two opposite races usually generates a lot of emotional chaos in the offspring. In addition to which, reasons were not lacking when Aazel told them his past. Issei, as soon as he finished listening to his story, just stood up and disappeared through a circle without any mention. We did not know what could happen. After all, finding out that your wife was with someone before meeting you and not knowing it was strong. Sona knew that possibly this would cause a serious conflict between Issei and his wife, but that did not matter to her at that moment. Now she was focused on knowing more about this Lusty Eay. From the little that she managed to see him, she knew that he was not a normal man. She had a doubt, and without hesitation she would find the answer to it. Sona, Mr. Aazel, may I ask you something? Aazel, what's up, Citri Aries? Sona, can you tell me a little more about Mr. Lusty Eay, his tastes, his personality and personality? Aazel, are you interested in him, young lady? Isn't he someone older than you and your tastes? The tone in which she said it shocked Sona's entourage. After all, she was someone quite serious, and did not tolerate such behavior from her. But again they were speechless upon seeing the response that their mistress gave to the fallen leader. Sona, a little. He is very interesting, which makes me want to meet him, but basically I need more information to decide if he is worth it. From what I could notice, despite his libidinous nature, he is a noble man with an upright character, but I need to confirm it with you because you know him better. Aazel, wow, I suppose there would be no problem in telling you a little more about him. In itself, he is someone responsible when the situation warrants it. He has his routine, very accommodating to his regimen and all that. But when you show that he can trust you, he will be someone charismatic and happy, assuming that you do not bother him. Basically, I would say that his way of being is a somewhat unusual combination to see in a man these days, and even more so when his lust is so strong. But having heard his story, I suppose that being libidinous is more than clear why it is not like that. Sona, indeed that is clear, but tell me, if you find yourself in a situation, let's say having to commit to someone, how would you act? Aazel, a very difficult question, but I would say that he doesn't have any thoughts or ideas about getting committed after everything he's been through regarding love. But if you want to know more about his thoughts on that subject, you should talk to him to confirm his position on it. Sona, I understand. Thank you for the information, Mr. Aazel. Aazel, you're welcome, but let me give you a warning about him if you want to deal with him. Even if you're nice and everything, if you provoke him, you'll end up facing someone who basically has no qualms about destroying you. He's very direct, so don't go with tricks or double meanings if you want to start a conversation, because he'll distrust you right then and there. Sona, thanks for the warning. Aazel, seeing as you're still here, I'm guessing you need a way to contact him, right? Sona just nodded while Aazel was thoughtful about whether to give her the contact or not. After all, he didn't think she would cause any problems. Aazel, okay, I'll send you a letter with the missing information and his contact number as soon as he's in my office. If that's all, then I'm leaving. I need to see where he went to give him the news that you want to see him. Sona, will you tell him? Aazel, even though you're allies, I know very well how he is when you compromise him with someone without telling him. Let's say that with this you'll have more chances that he'll contact you after seeing you and knowing that you know Graia. Just try not to talk too much about that subject when you have him in front of you if you want to have a pleasant conversation. Sona, I understand. This information about him and his offspring can be communicated to my family with the agreement that it will not be disclosed in any way? Aazel, be careful with that, Aries Citri. As you heard, its mere mention would cause your own race to hunt him like an animal, and I can assure you that they will suffer many casualties before being able to contain him if he does not manage to escape. So be very careful to whom you spread this information of his origin, or else my race will have to take action against him for him. After all, he has many friends among the fallen who could put together a considerable force. Sona, I get it. I swear this information won't come from any acquaintance of mine because of my pride as an heiress and high-class noble. Azazel, just make sure you don't cause any trouble, and if what you want is something closer with him, you'll need a lot to talk him into it. After all, the situation with Graia was the first of many if you tried to solve it on your own. Sona. Azazel, remember, incubi are a very complicated species when it comes to formal relationships, so I suggest you study them a little if you want to try it with him. Sona, I would appreciate it if you could provide me with that information, and especially for the vote of confidence in this information. Azazel just looked at her out of the corner of his eye before turning around and leaving Vala and the heiress Citri alone in the living room. Sona, Tsubaki prepares everything. We will go to the underworld this weekend. I need to talk to my parents about a specific topic. Tsubaki, okay Kaicho. Sona, the others, prepare yourselves too. You will go to meet my parents, the current patriarchs of the Citri house, so I hope you behave as you should and do not cause problems, especially Usagi. You are the newest in my nobility, so you do not know the etiquette of manners that you should have in their presence. Momo instruct him in the manners that he should carry for this situation. Momo, understood Kaicho. Everyone left after receiving their king's orders while Sona herself was thinking carefully about what she would say to her parents, and her idea for it related to this Lusty Eay. Olympus visiting room. Lusty Eay stood with his hands raised while several women with bows pointed at him waiting for the order of their lady. The goddess Artemis was in the middle of the group of hunters at her hands staring at Lusty Eay waiting for answers from him. Artemis, what are you doing here again, creature of sin? This is no place for you. Lusty Eay, and that's why I said to make sure one of his muses was waiting for me. There, Aphrodite, tonight I'm going to charge you dearly. Artemis, what are you secretly saying? Lusty Eay, calm your cravings, goddess. I came to see Aphrodite because we have a date for it. Soon one of her muses should come to pick me up and confirm my intentions, so I would like you to tell your dear to stop targeting me. Artemis, you have a lot of balls to come here like this and expect us to listen to your demands. Tell me, do you think I should just do what you're asking me to do? Lusty Eay, if you don't want to have problems with Aphrodite and her muses, you better do it. After all, they are more than you and your group of mini Karens. Artemis, filthy lustful animal, I will not let my dear lower their only defense against you to prevent you from touching them, or even looking at them lasciviously as your kind does with its prey. His hunters tightened their bows even more against him while looking at him as if he were a dirty boar in heat. Lusty Eay was starting to get annoyed by this, and was not going to tolerate it without any punishment from him. Lusty Eay, last warning, you better leave me alone, Artemis, or else you'll see what my race can do to you and your dear without having to touch them. Artemis, so? I want to see you trying, even trying as a man. Lusty Eay, very well, you asked for it, so don't blame me for this. Lusty Eay just snapped his fingers and each and every one of the hunters, including Artemis herself, fell to the ground with their faces red and hot, all of them showing signs of having hum in the place where they were as soon as Lusty Eay snapped his fingers. Artemis, damn bastard, what did you do to us? Lusty Eay, I warned you. I don't need to take out my hawk and put it in you to make a woman hum. Just a simple snap of my hands and all the sensitivity of your body multiplies to extremely tortuous degrees. A simple breeze or a single movement on your part will make you have the greatest pleasure of your life. Even more, considering that each and every one of you are virgins, that amplifies your senses by 2. Basically, your bodies recognize that they cannot be without the carnal pleasure that all life expresses or carries. Artemis, wretch, do you think you'll subdue us with this dirty method? Lusty Eay, I think you're confused about something. I'm not interested in you or your bodies. That's why I came to see Aphrodite and her muses. You're the only ones who can give me a fight in bed, while you're simply people who have no relevance in my life. You caused this yourself by not leaving me alone, and best of all, it's not an attack as such, so you can't accuse me of assaulting you. Lusty Eay was smiling as he watched the group barely bear the pleasure of his technique, but in the distance he saw the muse of Aphrodite, whom he knew very well, approaching, although the fact that she was much more presentable than the last time he saw her gave the answer to her delay. Lusty Eay, well, it seems my escort has arrived, so see you, Artemisa, and I would like to tell you that it was a pleasure seeing you. by. Artemis, wait, aren't you going to take off this crap you put on us? Lusty Eay, no, this is her punishment for looking for me, so she has to endure it. Also, if you want to get rid of it, you will need to release all your lust with a man, although considering your vow of chastity, as well as that of your hunters, that would be impossible, so when I feel like it or I am satisfied with her suffering, I will free them. See you soon and enjoy your massive orgasms. Aphrodite's chambers. Currently, Aphrodite was anxiously waiting on her bed for Lusty Eay's arrival. She could notice that he was already in Olympus because her body was beginning to heat up when she felt him close to her. This was what always happened since she did it with him for the first time. No man could satisfy her after having done it with him. Incubi, a very dangerous race for any woman who came across them. Aphrodite was one of the few women who could witness all the stories of their sexual masteries in bed that this race possesses, and the only one who witnessed all their power released in bed. Musa, Miss Aphrodite, Lusty Eay Lust is waiting for you right now at the entrance of the temple. Aphrodite, what are you waiting for? Bring him here right away. As soon as he comes in, lock everything up and make sure no one else comes in. Cancel all your appointments and come right away. I'll need your help to at least give him a smack in bed. Musa, right away, my lady. I will prepare everything for our party with Lord Lusty Eay. I won't be long. Aphrodite knew it. Her muses were the only ones who were present and saw how Lusty Eay dominated her in bed the last time. She even knew that thanks to them she was able to recover from her fainting spell as soon as Lusty Eay broke free with her. If it weren't for that, she herself would not know that Lust himself was tireless for her alone sexually. That's why she asked for his help every time he came to visit, and obviously the muses were not against it when they felt firsthand what Mr. Lust could do in bed, in addition to his 2 servants who were with him to help them from the first day. Although what neither Lusty Eay nor she knew is that someone was going to Aphrodite's chambers as soon as she found out about Lusty Eay's presence on Olympus. Chapter 4 Commitment? Citri Castle Main Hall. Citri family, one of the 72 pure-blood families of the demonic race that was not extinguished during the Great Holy War centuries ago, one of the families that, due to the scarcity of pure blood in the underworld, was tied to marrying their heirs with another pure family to continue maintaining the pure demonic blood in the underworld. But currently only one of its heirs carried that responsibility due to a certain issue of politics and power that the eldest of them had, so she was not forced to put her head together. Sona Citri did not have the same luck as her sister Seraphil of not having to marry compulsorily. But despite that, she still managed to remain free so far due to the condition she imposed to marry someone, and thanks to her sister's high position in politics being a Mahu and also because of her undeniable strength, she managed to make the council accept her conditions. But even after that, she knew that sooner or later she would have to abandon those conditions because there was a period in which they could accept her whims after all. If it continued like this, it would generate a lot of discontent among the masses because many other heiresses were not as lucky as having a sister or brother who carries an important title in their race to support them. But even before that day approached her, an unexpected solution appeared, and above all it was something that she accepted as a partner for life. But it only remained to talk to her parents to get their help and be able to bring him to her side. After all, even being older than her, he was someone who was loved and loved by the second strongest woman of his people, the Ice Queen, and at the moment wife of the current super demon and Mahu Lucifer Sir Shay, that activated one of her sins, which was quite suppressed by her in her youth due to her way of being, greed. For the first time she decided to fall into her greed, and all for the man who was chosen by the woman who challenged her sister for her title at the time. Her greed was looking for him. She wanted that man who was capable of making the coldest woman fall in love. The man who was able to make her cry. The man who could give her salvation from having to marry one of those disgusting heirs who didn't know how to deal with a woman like he seemed to. Her age or race didn't matter to her. She coveted him since she saw him. She didn't care that he was part incubus, which was one of the most lustful beings, but the first in the world and the only one of his kind, above all, which would bring more importance if she managed to bring him to her side. For the first time she showed the characteristics of her race. For the first time in her entire life she could be called what she is and always will be, a demon of sin, and all for Lusty Eay. Sona, father, mother, I think I'll accept a compromise in the end, so that the council will be happy with our family. Father, that's something new. I didn't think anyone was capable of beating you at chess, my daughter. Sona, no father, he didn't even play chess with me. I just wanted to get engaged to him because I found him interesting. Mother, what? What inheritance was able to impress you so that you want to get engaged to him, my daughter? Sona, he is not a mother heir. Father, so if he's not a demonic heir, how do you plan to get the council to accept him without them getting upset or trying something else? You said they'd be happy with this compromise? Sona, and they will be because my union with him will give rise to pure-blood children in addition to being 100% citri blood without fear of them coming out with any illness or disease. Mother, wait, how is that? If he is not a pure-blood heir, how can he be completely pure-blood in our family if there is no younger member of our family who is male? Sona, he can give me children of pure blood. I confirmed it with the Mahu Lucifer and the leaders of heaven and the fallen who gave information about him and his ability to do so. What happens is that because of that the three leaders made that information be suppressed and not be divulged by those present without their consent. But I was allowed to tell you because I showed interest in him, so I want you to keep this a secret, or else we will have problems with both the family and the other two factions, and not even my sister will be able to help us with this, okay? Father/mother, it's okay. Father, what we hear here will not leave this room, daughter. Sona, well, apparently during the meeting a plan was created to create a diplomatic group in which there would be members of the three races to promote a peace treaty and solve problems between our species and the other factions, but the leader had to be a neutral race and different from the three biblical factions. So the leader of the fallen Aazel gave a suggestion to use one of his colleagues to lead said group, which was from a race that was believed to be extinct until now, and that is why this information is confidential. Mother, an extinct race? Tell me, daughter, what race is it that the three leaders keep it quiet? Sona, she's half incubus, a race that can produce children with the mother's blood without changes to the genome of her race or any change of that style if she wishes. Father/mother. Father, wait, daughter, are you sure about this? Isn't this a joke on your part or something? Sona, father, you should know that I don't joke about things like this, or even that I never did in my life. This is the truth of what happened at the meeting and what was said there. Mother, this is a surprise. Now I understand what you meant by saying that the council would be happy with your union with him. We must go and break the news of this. Sona, mother, we cannot tell him about his race under any circumstances. Remember, the three leaders totally forbade it without your consent or his. Father, that's very complicated. How are we going to get them to trust that if we can't give them this information? Sona, that's why I need your help. This is a solution to the whole mess that is the issue of my marriage, and above all it is someone whom I can say that I find interesting and promising enough for me to love him completely. Mother, wow, I didn't expect to see my daughter fall in love with a young man just by seeing him for the first time. Fufufu. Sona, he's not a young mother, although he looks my age. I'd say he's even my sister's age, more or less, but even so, if I need to put someone to bed, there's no one better than him to do it. Mother, so my daughter is going for the big leagues, huh? And especially with a race that specializes in hex. After all, you're definitely aiming for the big time, my daughter, no fufufu. Who would have thought that your lust would finally be coming out? Sona. Father, speaking of which, you said he was half incubus before, daughter. What is his other race, assuming he is a half-breed? Sona. Her second nature is a bit complicated, which makes the situation with her identity even more difficult. Father, which is it? Sona, pure angel. Sona's mother, who was drinking her happy tea, suddenly spit it all over her husband's face, who was just as surprised as she was. Sona, for that reason, the leader of heaven, Michael, was almost crazy when he found out about this. Assuming that his pure angel part had not fallen yet due to his incubated nature, that would give the possibility of procreating angels completely naturally in heaven. Father, that guy is becoming more and more important. It's no joke why they decided to keep this information secret. A second major war could break out just because of him. Daughter, you have to get him to commit to you no matter what, you understand. We will help you in every way we can. I will try to get the council to accept this marriage without revealing anything you told us about him, but you must ensure that he will commit to you without a doubt. Sona, and that's the problem with that. Apparently, he doesn't see formal relationships with a good face due to certain problems in the past with his former partners. So I need Mother's help to get him to fall in love with me enough to accept this commitment even after everything that happened. Mother, jump. Well, honestly, I don't know what to advise you. First, I need more information to give you a plan of action to try to hook him. Do you know what happened with his former partners that made him not want to start a formal relationship? Or at least with one of them? Sona, Aazel told us about one of his relationships, which was his first partner before she left him due to certain circumstances that only she knew, but I have his name if you want to know. Mother, oh, tell me, if she's your sister's age then she probably knows her if she's someone important or famous. While the two of them were talking, Sona's father was drinking wine from his glass, thinking about what he would do to convince the council regarding his daughter's marriage to this person, in addition to listening to the conversation between both women about how they could tie the blessed man that his daughter wanted as a husband. Sona, well, she's someone very important, and you probably know her. Her first partner was Search's wife, Graia Lucifigo. Sona's father, upon hearing Graia's name, choked on his wine, so he spit it out, staining the face of his wife who was at his side, who was not happy about it. Father, okay. Now this has become a time bomb, daughter. You really went for the big prize, huh? An old partner of the second strongest woman of our race. You'll be the envy of all the heiresses for having stolen the Ice Queen's man, ha ha ha. Mother, if Issei doesn't do something against her, according to what you said, she apparently still has feelings for him, so on top of having problems with Mahu Lucifer, it's possible that your daughter, my daughter, will have to fight against her to have him by her side. Sona, that's easily solved. After all, the way she saw him and the way he left when he saw her showed that he didn't feel anything for her other than hatred. So even if she tries to get close to him again, I don't think she has any chance with him. Mother, don't underestimate the love of a woman of that caliber, daughter. It's not something easy to bear, even more so if you were truly in love with that person. Gregory Azazel's office. Aazel, after the intense meeting he had and almost being frozen from the balls at the hands of his partner's ex-partner, was sitting at his desk writing down all the information he had about him to send it to the heiress Citri at her request, although he was thinking about it because of how Lusty Eay would take it. So when he was finishing gathering everything related to him, he was thinking about what he would tell him about this fact that apparently a young demonic teenager was romantically interested in joining forces with him despite his age, which in his view was the best offer an older man could have in his life. Although knowing Lusty Eay, he did not believe he had the same idea of luck, and more after having apparently met the first of many women who hurt him emotionally during his youth. Even though he did not know about that the first of his many ex-partners was the current wife of his colleague Issei, he knew another of his exes because she was one of his helpers and important cadres of his ranks, and more no less. Azazel, seriously Lusty Eay, of all the demons you could have fallen in love with, it was with Search's current wife. You already surprised me when you told me the third was my cadre Penemu, and now this, what's next? Apparently you even made Gabriel fall in love with all the women in the world too? God, you're such a pain in the ass when you put your mind to it, Vala, what did you expect, old man? After all, he told you when we met him that if he said the name of each of those who hurt him in that way, it would shake everything supernatural. I even think that it is very possible that this revelation is not the only one that we discover, and it surprises us in that way. I do not want to even think about what Penemy would say if she found out that we know about him and his past. After all, when she left him, her facet changed to a serious one, which did not even let any man flirt with her while she was in front of him. Azazel, don't even remind me. If he finds out, he'll probably kill us both for hiding it from him. Vala, correction will only kill you. I have no business in this whole couple's mess. It's not my style and you know it. Azazel, tell me, did you see how Search's wife reacted when she found out he was alive? Now tell me, how do you think Penemy will react when she finds out the same thing? Who do you think she'll go to for answers, We're the only two who knew about him anyway, so we'll be in her point of view almost immediately. Val. Azazel, leaving aside the issue of him possibly hanging us by the balls if he finds out, tell me, were you able to locate him anywhere? Vala, do you think I'm some kind of tracking dog or something? Even if we wanted to know his location, if he doesn't want us to know, we wouldn't be able to track him. After all, he's been off the supernatural radar for over 3 centuries. Azazel, then we just have to wait for him to contact us. I hope it's soon. After all, I need to tell him that one of the heiresses wants to meet him, huh? Vala, why did you agree to that, old man? Didn't you owe them anything? After all, one of them attacked you without hesitation, and you did nothing to return the favor. Azazel, I don't know, Vala. I don't know. Maybe the thought crossed my mind that she could help him regarding his past, or that she wanted to screw him over in some way after all the trouble he gets me into when he's drunk and sleeps with some influential person's wife. The truth is, I don't know what I was thinking at that moment. I remind you that I was frozen to the balls by the Ice Queen if you forgot that little detail. Valley, that's because you're not on your guard. One day someone could stab you in the back without you even expecting it, old man. Azazel, who would be capable knowing me that I am one of the powers of the 3 factions that is still alive? Val. Azazel, well, we just have to wait for his call. It will take a while. Azazel just leaned back in his chair as he closed his eyes only for a communication circle to appear in his ear in the next moment. Lusty Eay, hey Azazel, I need your help for a moment, okay? I'm in some dangerous business right now. Azazel, what trouble did you get yourself into now? Who did you sleep with this time? Lusty Eay, with no one yet, it's just that I apparently got into a duel with someone over a woman. Azazel, seriously? For a woman? Tell me she's at least worth it? Lusty Eay, Aphrodite. Azazel could only fall backwards from his chair because of the name. The very stupid guy went to mess with one of the most important goddesses of the Greek pantheon, and right now he was in a duel with who knows what god because of that. Azazel, seriously, you stupid piece of shit? Who are you dueling with? Hermes, Artemis, Athena? Lusty Eay, Aries. Azazel, how did you get to these extremes? Lusty Eay. Flashback. After that little punishment to Artemis and her group of hunters, Lusty Eay was escorted by the beautiful muse to Aphrodite's chambers, where she was waiting for him with her entire battalion of muses and maids ready to fight him if her lady needed it like the last time. Although right now they were heading there, Lusty Eay couldn't help but notice the indecent clothes that the muse by his side was wearing. Needless to say, it seemed she had left a very good impression on all of them in her previous visits. Maybe he should reward them all, including Aphrodite, by showing them again his unbridled mode in all its splendor. What he didn't know is that apparently someone would ruin that idea with his presence as soon as he found him. When they were in front of the temple of Aphrodite, he could not hold back because he had a lot of accumulated stress due to the event that occurred with the previous call of Azazel. But just when both were about to enter, a presence began to circulate aggressively towards him, so he stopped only to look in front of him at the person who released said presence to his person, Aries, the god of war and former lover of Aphrodite, after Lusty Eay changed that with his presence. Apparently held a strong resentment towards his person for that. Lusty Eay, this is really starting to piss me off now. Aries, well, look who we have here. Isn't he the man chosen by the goddess of love? Tell me, what are you doing wanting to enter her temple, you filthy creature? Lusty Eay, the only thing you can't achieve with your weak manhood, Aries. After all, if she wants me more than you, it's because my manhood is much stronger than your supposed lover of war who only knows how to impale with his spear and not with his hawk. At least being a supposed filthy creature, I managed to make Aphrodite really come when I was bucking her, unlike you. Even like every true male, I managed to defeat her in Hex and show her what it feels like to be the wife of a true stud who can prove it. The environment quickly became hostile due to Aries. Even his soldiers, who were always around him as escorts, were impressed by how that guy managed to make their god angry like that. Suddenly all the surroundings were filled by the residents of the place, including among them several minor gods, and some major ones in addition to the servants present because of this. Aries, you are very talkative to say that you are better than a god, and more being the god of war, dirty filth. Lusty Eay, I'm not saying I'm better, but I prove it because Aphrodite left you because of me, right? After all, by doing it with me only once, I managed to leave the true pleasure of a real man engraved in her body, right? So I don't think I'm better than your god, Aries, but I am without a doubt, and I don't need to prove it. After all, she had told me that no one other than me could make her feel lust again. Those words surprised everyone present who saw how this whole mess was unfolding. Someone was humiliating Aries with his words without him being able to return the favor in any way. Many goddesses who felt hate towards Aries laughed at how this lusty Issei was throwing shit in his face without him being able to defend himself in any way, while the gods looked at this seriously because they were humiliating one of their brothers and lords without any fear. Aries, you think you're the greatest thing, damn mortal? I'll teach you to respect the higher beings of which I'm a part by cutting off your dirty tongue, those you speak to. Lusty Eay, I wanted to de-stress by having sex with Aphrodite and her servants, but breaking your ego should be enough for now to keep me calm. Afterwards, I'll buck Aphrodite and whoever asks me, but now I must show you what happens if you bother me and it's not a woman. Aries, so you're not backing down, HUH? Well then let's go to the arena to fix it. Then I'll show you what it means to be a superior being, and what you can never overcome even if you try. Lusty Eay, let's see if you can do it. Aries alone headed towards the stadium where he would face Lusty Eay to demonstrate his greatness to everyone and cleanse all the shame he received from Lusty Eay. All those present quickly went to pass on this information of the fight of one of their lords with a foreigner who apparently took away his best lover, which was a strong impact on his pride of God. Lusty Eay, I don't know how I managed to get into these things just because I want to have a great night with someone. And flashback. Lusty Eay, I don't know Aazel. If I knew I wouldn't do these things, honestly. Aazel, okay, what do you want me to do? Lusty Eay, nothing, I just want you to be present in case something happens outside the duel. I know the character of the Greeks very well, so surely one of their followers will want to attack me from behind when the time is right. After all, Aries is known for playing dirty in his fights. I want to kick his divine ass while I destroy his pride. Aazel, okay, but you'll owe me a huge favor in return for this, which I'll charge you for when this is all over, okay? Lusty Eay, okay, I promise. Now come watch my back from these two-faced people. Aazel, I'll be right there. The communication circle was instantly cut off, only for Aazel to clutch his head at this mess. Vala, what happened? Aazel, something that is annoying, and at the same time it solves the problem of accepting the request of the Citri heiress. I don't know if it's luck or what, but he always tends to do things like this so that he can get a favor from her. Val. Aazel, come on, we must go to Olympus to witness his fight with Aries. Val, that's why I like that guy, he always does interesting things when he wants to. Aazel, both of you are lost cases, you like causing problems like this. I seriously need to take a vacation. Val, you say that as if you don't get into trouble just like us. Aazel, at least they're not beings who are categorized as warmongers just on a whim. Val, and that's why you don't enjoy life, old man. Aazel, ha, I hope no more situations like this happen in the future, but knowing him, all that's missing is for someone who knows him to find out about him for this to start all over again. Gremory Mansion living room. After Issei and Graia left the place to talk, everyone fell silent. The Gremory patriarchs did not know what to do in this situation, while Rias and her entourage were speechless about the situation. Venelana, daughter, do you have any image of the subject for which Graia is in that state, perhaps? Rias came out of the shock only to nod to her mother and summon a magic circle showing Lusty Eay's appearance to Venelana, who was surprised by his appearance without hesitation. Venelana, wow, I didn't expect him to be so young. Rias, no, she's the same age as Issei according to what Aazel said. Only due to her mixed blood her appearance doesn't age noticeably. Zeoticus, so he's a half-breed? What are the two races then? Rias, they are pure angel and incubus according to Aazel, although it seems impossible he confirmed it when asked about it. Both patriarchs were exalted when they heard what races the subject came from. Two races impossible to coexist with each other managed to form a very unusual being after all, although Venelana was more interested in the incubus part because in her youth she heard stories of how passionate those lustful beings were in their time. Something inside her began to grow when she thought of an idea regarding her plans to leave the family after Rias assumes the mandate with her partner when it happens. On the other hand, Zeoticus was surprised to know that it was from a dangerous race for them and a race that was believed to be extinct until now. She did not know what to think of this until Aquino, excuse my outburst, Mr. and Mrs. Gremory, but Rias remembers that we were forbidden to talk about it by the three leaders when they mentioned it. Rias, I don't think it matters. After all, it's my brother who gave us the information, so I don't think he'll do anything to us. Apart from them, Issei, Kiba and Kaneko were talking. Issei, that guy was with the wife of the current Mahu Lucifer, besides doing it with a fall when he was on the phone with Azazel. I envy him. He was able to be with two totally hot women in his bed while he enjoyed their bodies. Kiba, you should be careful, Issei. One of them is Rias's brother's wife. I don't think she would like what you're saying if she hears you. Issei, come on, Kiba. Or are you not going to tell me that you felt excited when you heard the moans that fell next to him when Azazel called him? Kaneko, pervert. Kaneko just approached and hit Issei in the abdomen, thus knocking him out, being seen by Kiba, who kept his typical smile, although Rias and Aquino's conversation with their parents continued to be that Rias was telling everything she knew and what was talked about at the meeting regarding Lusty Eay. Graia and Search's room. Both were sitting on the bed looking at each other. Although Search's gaze was melancholic, Graia's was determined, even though her eyes were red because she had been crying before. Search, so this is what you want most, Graia. Graia, I'm sorry, Search, you were a great husband and partner during the time we were a couple, but he is the man I swore to love for eternity, and spend my days by his side. If I had known he was still alive, I would not have started a relationship with you at that moment, but now that I know he is still alive, I want to correct the mistake I made years ago with him, and try to get him back. Although I thank you for giving me a son as wonderful as Milikas, but I can't deceive what my heart feels for him. Search, I understand, then I'll let you go, Graia, after him. But first you must help me explain this to our son and my family, then I'll sort out the rest with the underworld and the news of our separation. Graia, you are a great man, Search. It hurts me to do this to you, but I can't change what I feel for him. But I can tell you that I know you will find someone who will take my place by your side and make you forget about me with his presence. Search, I doubt it, Graia. But I can't do anything. After all, at the beginning I already knew that this could happen, so now you are free from me. Search only proceeded to bring his hand closer to her, and with the chant he removed Graia's queen piece, completely freeing her from him and their relationship, while she could only admire the piece that previously belonged to his wife in her hands. Both of them spent a while looking at each other, only to get up and share this news with Search's parents, and the others, in addition to looking for and talking about it with his son. Chapter 5, Memories, plus 18. Lusty Eay was walking towards the combat arena where Aries was waiting for him in full view of all of Olympus. He was deep in thought because he began to remember things from his past regarding his relationship with Graia, while the aforementioned was mentally preparing to tell him her decision to leave Search. The entire Gremory's family, and especially her son Milikas, both of them did not know it, but they were both remembering one of the moments where they both did it during their relationship, and it was the first time for both of them. Flashback. Lusty Eay kicked open the door to his room while carrying Graia in his arms, both showing the lust bubbling in their bodies for what they wanted to do. Such was the desire that even without reaching the room they had begun to kiss each other lasciviously without any restraint. Lusty Eay gently laid her on the bed while he continued to claim Graia's lips, all the while his hands ran through her spectacular body only to suddenly tear off her dress with force, almost undressing her at that moment. But when they finished the kiss, he felt that Graia, with a force that she didn't know, she had changed their positions, being that now she was on top of him without him being able to do anything against her. Graia, I know what you want, but as the oldest tonight, we'll do things my way. Her hexy and dominant tone made Lusty Eay just look at her, waiting to see what she wanted to do. Graia took the edge of her dress to lift it high enough to show her thin white waist. He could see her erotic panties matching the long white stockings she wore, along with black lace that gave an extra touch of sensuality to her clothes. Graia, if you want this, you'll have to wait for me to give you permission first. Normally games of that style were out of his taste, since he was the one who usually gave the orders and was the dominant one in bed, but for some reason hearing it from Graia made him feel more excited than usual, making his pants tight because of the massive erection he had. Graia, in the meantime, I think someone needs my attention around here. Lemon skipped. Lusty Eay, you would think there is no better woman to be my partner for life. Graia blushed at that comment, but just gave him a smile. Graia, thank you, Lusty Eay. Lusty Eay, you finally call me without honorifics. Graia, if I am now your wife, I cannot refer to you in any other way. Although I will always serve you until the last of my days. End flashback. Liar. He quickly shook his head, forgetting about her. It was not time for that, so ready he entered the Colosseum, finding himself face to face with Aries, who was wearing his armor and his characteristic spear. The cheers of all the gods were not long in coming. Lusty Eay checked the entire stands looking for Aazel, which he found in the part next to Zeus and the other Olympians, although obviously separated from them due to his strong pride. Moving his gaze slightly, he noticed Aphrodite, who was worried. For a moment, due to his past experiences, the thought crossed his mind that she was there for Aries instead of him, which created a strong resentment in his being. Her gaze was changed to a serious and cold one suddenly, which Aazel noticed and knew that this would not end well. He knew that look before, and what it entailed was not good at all. Aries, I see that in the end you dared to come, you filthy animal. I must admit that you have the balls to face me, the god of war. But it will be of no use to you, because today I will show you what happens when you face me. Lusty Eay just turned his head, looking at Aries without a hint of feelings. He wasn't in the mood at that moment. Suddenly one of the fawns honked a horn, starting the fight. Aries tried to quickly charge against him, only for the entire stadium to become exalted when they saw how the spear was sent flying from a blow of his. Aries was shocked by that, but that only served to prevent him from blocking Lusty Eay's next blow. He had sank his fist completely into his abdomen, which caused him to be thrown against the wall of the arena, creating a crater in it when it crashed. The Olympians were speechless because of this. But Aazel knew that this would end worse. Lusty Eay was not in his right mind, and when that happened no one could stop him unless they were stronger than him. Aries, ugh, damn bastard, how the hell could you? Lusty Eay just disappeared from his vision and suddenly felt a singularly powerful kick hit the right side of his face, sending him rolling all over the arena. His people were exalted, seeing their god being beaten without having the chance to defend himself. Lusty Eay continued to disappear from the place, giving kicks that could barely be seen to Aries. The Olympian gods became serious because some were angry because someone of lower rank was making a fool of one of their own in front of their people. Down in the arena, in Lusty Eay's last blow, Aries was crashed again against the wall of the arena, being totally devastated. His armor lacked a seam because his blows grounded. Lusty Eay only looked at the body of Aries stamped without showing any indication of what he would do. He turned around under the gaze of all and began to walk away from the place under the silence of the place. When he was about to leave the arena, Aries had gotten up, completely releasing his Olympian form to everyone's surprise. Lusty Eay, who was still with his back turned, just stopped. He was not in the mood for this to continue. Aries, now I will show you the true power of a disgusting deity. I will make you kneel while you lick my feet, begging for forgiveness and mercy when I am cleaning the sand with you. Most of the gods began to cheer because Aries would show all his power completely, while several goddesses were serious because from the beginning of all this they noticed a feeling of danger coming from the subject that Aries challenged, and who almost defeated him without even showing any problem. Hera, this won't end well. Hestia, why do you say that, Hera? Athena, Aries is provoking a person who doesn't even know his true nature after all. Hera, daughter, do you know that guy? Athena, something like that, mother. He is one of Aphrodite's bedmates, although it seems he is the best she has ever had after all. Hestia, why do you say that? Artemis, because he made her moan for real. He even beat her in bed with the help of all his muses and handmaids. Hera, what's wrong, daughter? Artemis, I confronted him when he arrived at Aphrodite's request, and as a means of defense he cursed me by increasing the sensitivity of my body, causing me to have orgasms constantly, mother. Hestia, how can you do that? Athena, that's because he's half incubus, Hestia, the last of his kind as far as I know. Hera, an incubus? Athena, exactly, mother, that's why I'm interested in him. I would like to study him because we don't have much more information about his species because it was considered extinct, but seeing it now I don't think that's possible. Hestia, why do you say that, Athena? Athena, because right now he is destroying all the pride of the gods by sweeping the arena floor with Aries, one of the 12 most powerful Olympians. I doubt the other gods will let this remain like this if Aries cannot defeat him. The entire box where they were was suddenly suffocated due to a strong release of energy. All the goddesses quickly looked at the arena, noticing how the source of that energy was the supposed stranger. Lusty Eay was releasing a quite significant energy, surprising the entire stadium. This event was not only captured by them, but because before Aries had completely released his energy, all the nearby mythologies had noticed it, and together with that now another strange energy that was a little superior to his was present. It turned on the alarms of all of them, so they quickly created magic circles to see what was happening in Olympus. In the arena, Aries was surprised by the strong display that his opponent had in front of his. A blood-colored aura began to surround Lusty Eay under the gaze of everyone in the stadium and several factions. Suddenly the aura enveloped Lusty Eay in a dome, who at all times had his gaze on Aries, although the way his eyes seemed empty froze the blood of many people. Azazel began to worry because he never noticed this way of releasing energy of his, but before he could think about anything, the dome where Lusty Eay was disappeared, showing him with a new appearance. Chapter 6: Bad Luck. The combat arena was silent. The sudden change in Lusty Eay's appearance, including the atmosphere he emitted, changed the course of the place. Azazel was surprised, as were the gods, but for the goddesses and women present it was different. Lusty Eay's appearance caused several of them to begin to see him in a lustful way, while others with better control of themselves only felt their bodies heat up to see him. Aphrodite knew this well. She had already experienced this feeling when she was alone with him. This was the way where he released all his lust with her in his bed and managed to make her submissive in his domains despite being the goddess of love and lust. What she did not know is that this form of hers was one that specialized in the area of combat and in the sexual area. It was basically his all-terrain form in terms of specialty. Versatile in all areas without having a fixed or specialized one, Aries, who was moderately surprised, just passed him by and charged towards him quickly before he could do anything. He was not stupid. He knew that he possibly had tricks in that form or abilities that could change the situation. So he wanted to eliminate him before he had the chance to use them. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Lusty Eay was quite versed in tactics of all kinds in that form. One of them was his incredible perception of the environment, which helped him see the trajectory of Aries' spear to his head, stopping it effortlessly. Aries. But what he didn't finish saying it because Lusty Eay, after stopping his charge, sank one of his fists into his stomach, cutting off his dialogue, which confused those present because it left Aries lying on the ground. This was not surprising to Lusty Eay because he knew the ability he used to make it happen. Concentration was not to have a better aim or the like. This ability allowed him to concentrate all his strength or magical power in a single point. Basically, the blow is loaded with all or at least a good amount of his strength, which impacted on a soft area. Combined with the fact that due to his incubus nature, he knew very well the body and its weak points or pressure points as they know it, which caused Aries to end up on the ground prostrate in front of him under the gaze of his entire pantheon and other gods. Lusty Eay just sighed and looked towards Azazel, trying to convey his thought, which he understood, and quickly said goodbye to the gods and goddesses on his side and teleported towards him to leave there quickly before the other Olympian gods regained their composure and stopped him. Grigory Azazel's private laboratory. Azazel and Lusty Eay appeared in his laboratory after that. Although Lusty Eay had returned to normal, Azazel, a little mentally tired, just sighed and looked at him. Azazel, you really went too far this time, don't you think? What do you think would have happened after you'd basically left one of the main gods prostrate before you with a blow from you? What would the other gods say? Lusty Eay. It wasn't his problem. He provoked me. I only responded to his provocation. If they think they're the best when only one of them is on the list of powerful entities in this world, then they're more idiots than I think. Damn. I went to relax and ended up involved in another mess. Today is being a great day. Azazel, is it weird to see you abandon your upright, formal demeanor? It seems like what happened yesterday left you pretty irritated. Lusty Eay. I don't want to talk about it. I don't have the desire to talk about it anymore, nor the patience for it. So, if you have any questions about how I managed to partner with her, please leave them for later. Otherwise, you might as well have a bunker in this lab. Azazel, calm down, I wasn't planning on doing that. After all, this isn't the time for that. Lusty Eay, what's the trick? Azazel, was I too obvious? Lusty Eay. Azazel, well, the thing is I need that favor now and it's a bit special, right? Lusty Eay, what did you get me into? Azazel, well, let's say you interested someone at that meeting and let's say I arranged a talk between you and her. Lusty Eay, Azazel. Azazel, wait, it's not her, it's another demon. Lusty Eay, and what's the damn difference? Did you also tell the only race that has the bucking fetish of keeping its bloodline pure above all? Azazel, yes. Lusty Eay, give me a reason not to cause you pain. Azazel, you owe me. Besides, it's not that much, she's one of the heirs of one of their noble houses. Plus, I made sure they didn't spread that information, or I would be forced to lead their race to war for you, so calm down. After all, I got all my people into this. Lusty Eay, aha, what the hell do I have to do with it? Were you the one who caused that on your own? Azazel, go ahead, it won't cost you anything, and I don't think it'll be a problem. After all, if you talk to her, you'll have a way of knowing if she's looking for you, right? Lusty Eay, the thing is, she wasn't the only one who lied to me, there's another one on her side, although I don't know if she's still alive, but I don't want to risk finding out. Azazel, seriously, what's his name? Lusty Eay, I don't know. Azazel, did you fall in love without knowing her? Lusty Eay, stupid, he never told me his real name, he even dared to deceive me in that, he played with me, his stupid race only looks out for their own well-being, not that of others. Azazel, I understand, but… Lusty Eay, this will settle my debt completely. Azazel, understood. After that I will not owe you anything. Azazel, yeah, okay, but make sure you're Cortez with her, she's still young and doesn't look like the others, okay? Lusty Eay, we'll see, when should I meet with her? Azazel, I'll talk to her now to tell you the date, but it will probably be this afternoon, so go and rest. I think you need it. After all, you couldn't de-stress today like you planned. Lusty Eay, don't even think about it. I don't think I'll go with her again after today, she made that clear to me after all. Azazel? Lusty Eay, nothing important, see you Azazel. Let me know when it's time for us to meet with that demon. Lusty Eay just stepped away and began to disappear in a magic circle, although he managed to hear Azazel's last words before leaving. Azazel, it will only be you two, I won't go. Lusty Eay, so get ready. Lusty Eay, son of a… Azazel just smiled at that and headed for the exit, although he didn't expect anyone to be behind the door. Azazel, damn, what's wrong, Penemu? Penemu, who was the person you were with? His voice was familiar to me. Azazel POV, this won't end well, Lusty Eay will kill me if she finds out. Time skip. Azazel managed to solve the possible bomb that Penemu would turn out to be if she discovered her relationship with Lusty Eay. After praying to her non-existent father for it, he arrived at his office to send him the information and notify the heiress Citri about his meeting with Lusty Eay. Which pleased Sona, who quickly told her parents to plan what she would do with him and his request. Sona, well, here I have the reports from Lusty Eay that Azazel gave me, and he also informed me that he agreed to see me even though he was reluctant to do so at first. Father Sona, it was to be expected, after all, his former partner is of our race, and seeing her suddenly must not have been pleasant, and now one of his own wants to see him. Sona, I know, Father, I don't blame you for that, in fact I expected you not to even accept. I should thank Azazel for this opportunity later as soon as I can. Mother, we'll see about that later. Now you must think about where to hold that meeting and how you will conduct it. After all, I don't think he will agree to come to the underworld, so you must give him an option that won't make him withdraw, daughter. Sona, I've been thinking about it. I was planning to do it at the Core Academy Student Council. Father, I don't think that place is good. Remember that it was in that academy where he saw Graia again, and I think he didn't want to go there because if she started looking for him again, what better place to start than where she saw him? Sona, I see, then there is no other option but my residence in Quaden. which leaves him present before my entourage during my personal talk and request. Mother, it's the most convenient thing, daughter, but you should study the information more thoroughly. Sometimes new information is revealed in old information. And make sure not to touch on a sensitive subject. After all, men are spiteful beings when it comes to the betrayal of the person they loved the most. Sona, I'll try not to cause any trouble in your presence, but what I'm afraid of is that if you accept my request, my sister might cause trouble because of it. Mother, don't worry, I'll take care of that with your father. You go and prepare for your meeting with him. We'll think about what to do with Seraphil if necessary. Sona, thank you, mother, father. Some time later, we can see how Lusty Eay was in front of a rather prominent residence. He began to regret his decision to appear before this demonic heiress, but well, she was already here, so he could try to find out what she wanted with her, although he had a vague idea of what she would ask him because he knows about her condition as an incubus. Lusty Eay, if nothing else, I hope nothing happens at this meeting. Lusty Eay proceeded to touch the voice caller waiting to be given the pass, which happened quickly. At the entrance, a young woman with white hair was waiting to escort him to the living room where her lady and other companions were waiting for her and her guest. Chapter 7. Wait, what do you want? Momo, this way, Mr. Lusty Eay, Miss Sona is waiting for you. Lusty Eay just nodded, keeping silent as he followed the young demon from behind towards the mansion. The atmosphere between them during the tour was quite uncomfortable on Momo's part because, at the request of her mistress, she studied everything related to the guest's race. Which made her nervous because of how they portrayed that race as hexmaniacal beasts capable of plunging their victims into various types of pleasures just by touching them lightly. Besides that, not only was the nervousness acting in that sense, it was also because she heard what he was doing when Aazel contacted him, so the memories of how the woman on the other side was moaning and begging for more were fresh and burned into her memory, making her blush. Lusty Eay noticed it. After all, he could feel the excitement she was having due to her condition, so trying to calm her down he spoke. Lusty Eay, you don't need to be so nervous about me. I'm not like they portray those of my species, hex-hungry beasts who attack anyone for it, so you don't need to be so nervous. I won't attack you or anyone inside. I only have relationships with women who I establish a deeper connection than friends and less than a couple. I would say more lovers than anything else. Momo, that reassures me a little, Mr. Lusty Eay, but it's difficult since I've never met another incubus, or there's been information about it for more than 500 years, according to archives and books. Lusty Eay, don't worry about talking about that. After all, I didn't know anyone else besides my mother who was of the incubus or succubus race, so I don't really know what my species used to do at that time, also from what I see. When I spoke with Aazel, it seems the idiot forgot to put up a sound barrier when he found me in that situation, so assuming you don't know anything related to that subject, having heard it must have been too much, so I apologize for that. Momo, no I don't. Hey. Lusty Eay, don't worry, I know you heard it. After all, that must be the reason why you're blushing and a little excited now. After all, I'm hiding my essence so that doesn't happen because my incubus genes would unite your female hormones to fixate you as a potential prey and subdue it. Momo, wait, what? Lusty Eay, don't worry, remember, I'm not going to do that because I only use that essence on women with whom I have a stable connection to make them feel good in my company. Momo only calmed down upon hearing that, although she was embarrassed because she knew that she heard everything he did that night with the woman who was with him. Both just continued walking until they reached the main room, and Momo opened the door, showing the room where in the middle there were two sofas on the sides of a table, while on one of them Sona was sitting, while behind her were the other members of her entourage waiting for her arrival. Sona, when she saw Lusty Eay, just stood up straight, while inviting him to sit on the sofa in front of her. Sona, good afternoon, Mr. Lusty Eay. I'm glad you were able to come. Please come in and have a seat. Lusty Eay just analyzed the place and the people present, getting an idea of the type of group they are. Proceeding to sit in front of Sona on the sofa opposite his, he looked at her and greeted her politely. Lusty Eay, good afternoon, Miss Citri. Thank you for your kindness. Sona, well, I suppose Aazel told you that he wanted to have a chat with you, right? But he didn't mention anything related to the topic he would talk to you about, right? Lusty Eay, he didn't. He just gave me the invitation from him, and nothing else. He doesn't usually give out too much information about his dealings, so I don't know anything beyond the fact that you wanted to see me to talk. Sona, I understand, I guess that's good. What I wanted to talk to you about is a somewhat complicated subject. Lusty Eay, excuse my rudeness, but if the topic is related to my old life or to asking me for certain pleasurable services, I don't think I'll accept it or even consider it. Sona. Saji, hey you. Sona, Saji, be quiet. Excuse me, Mr. Lusty Eay, but I think I'm misunderstanding something here about the topic I wanted to discuss with you. I don't want that kind of service from you. What I wanted was to propose a different kind of deal. Lusty Eay, now I'm stunned, I didn't expect this. Sona, why? Lusty Eay, I suppose you know my age, right? Let's just say I previously had meetings with other ancient demonic heiresses at the time, and they all ended with the same situation. Either they wanted to request my night services or they wanted to add me to their retinues, so it was always the same with them. Excuse me if I thought you would ask the same, but after a certain issue with your race I stopped being in contact with you for more than 250 years, so I don't know the changes you had. I thought you were still the same demons as before, but I see that things changed after the new government took office, right? So I apologize if what I assumed about you sounded rude at this moment. Sona, I understand your case, so it doesn't matter. I suppose that after that he must have wanted to cut all ties, so it was expected that he wouldn't know anything about the new political regime that exists in the underworld now. Lusty Eay, I apologize again though. I didn't expect you to want anything other than that because that's all I used to get asked for due to my nature in that area. Sona, well, although that is not what I was talking about, let's say that the matter goes there. In fact, what happens is that as before being an heiress I am currently forced to marry another pure heir to engender pure blood offspring of our lineages, which means that the underworld expects me to marry and have children of pure blood lineage. And that's where you come into this, because currently none of the current heirs of the other houses attract me in that way to accept them as my husband and partner, or those who are acceptable are not interested. I am forced to take one by order of the demonic council. Or rather, I was forced to have children of noble lineage with another heir who keeps the bloodline of our race intact, and consequently I am forced to take him as my husband in this. Lusty Eay, wait, so you're asking me to marry you? Lusty Eay's words exalted the members of Sona's entourage, who looked at her waiting for her response, while Saji among them was scared of her response, seeing what his lady would say, who was with her eyes closed while crossing her fingers thinking about her next words. Sona, exactly that is what I wish for you. As you know, your species has the advantage of producing two types of children according to the documents, one from your mother's lineage and one from yours, that with your wish, which was the reason why your species was hunted since ancient times when this information was known by mine. But now the only ones who know this are those present here with Aazel from you, right? The thing is that when you appeared that day before you left, when I recognized Graia as certainly seeing you something in me, I wanted to have you as my partner. I don't know if it is some ability of yours or if it is that much rumored love at first sight that is talked about these days, but assuming that none of my female pieces think the same, it is more certain that there was smitten by seeing you. Now I know that due to past experiences and from Azazel's words you see formal relationships as something outside your line of vision, and I understand it even without having experienced any betrayal. Lusty Eay, after this I swear to cut off Azazel's balls for going around talking too much about me. As for what you're asking me, miss, it's out of the question. I don't intend to be there as an ornament just for your convenience. I'm not that guy's toy and I won't be one, so if you'll excuse me, we have nothing to talk about, so I'll leave immediately if you don't mind. Sona, wait please, listen to me at least. I know you don't have good experiences in love, but I promise to try to be a good woman. I don't want you to be just a disguise if that's what you thought I was asking you. I really want you to be my husband. I want us to try to have a slow relationship where you fall in love and gain your trust. But I necessarily need us to call each other husband and wife so that the advice doesn't intervene in this. Yes, I just want you to give me the opportunity to try. I know you don't know me or that you don't even trust me because of negative memories you have towards demons, but I really want you to be my partner. Nothing matters to me but that you accept me and give me the opportunity to make you fall in love. Lusty Eay just stood at the door of the hall listening to what Sona was saying while the others present were surprised by the words of their mistress. Lusty Eay just stood still contemplating what was happening. So having a way to make sure that she was really saying that with sincerity, he decided to give her the opportunity to prove it if he accepted her request. Lusty Eay, I will give you the opportunity to prove it to me, but from now on I tell you, if you think of using me, deceiving me or betraying me, I promise to make you suffer like never before. My race is not one that plays in these cases, and assuming that you know what that means, you will know that the consequences are very painful. But first I will see if you truly feel what you say about me before giving you the opportunity, but you must accept a request of mine first. Sona, as long as it's nothing out of my reach, I don't care as long as you give me the chance. Lusty Eay, okay, I'll explain it to you. As I understand it, in my race there are two ways to have a formal crush. One is that I fall in love with a woman I know and that I get along with quite well, and the other way is what you seem to be experiencing. Sona, what? Lusty Eay, let me explain. The second way is that the woman who adapts to our personality resonates as soon as she sees us, which is what you call love. But this is very deceptive to see because it is confused with lust itself. So is there a way I can prove that what you truly feel is love and not lust? So are you willing to try it? Sona, what is that way of testing it? Lusty Eay, let me kiss you. Silence fell over the room at that moment. The members of Sona's entourage looked at Lusty Eay hoping he was joking, especially Saji, who didn't like this whole meeting from the beginning, while Sona stood still looking at Lusty Eay looking for clarification of this request. Lusty Eay, let me explain. One of the incubus abilities is basically something that helps us know the true intentions of the people with whom we enter into this type of love. Any secretion from my body is like a kind of truth serum in a certain way, so if I give you a light kiss and my saliva comes into contact with your lips, I would be forming a connection with your heart which allows me to know if your words are true or not. When I kiss you, I will ask you a series of questions and I will control your heart to know if what you tell me is true or not, and we will see if you really feel what you say about me or not. Tsubaki, is there no other way to use that ability besides kissing? Lusty Eay, unless you want her to lick my sweat or blood, I don't think she'll accept it, and the latter is out of the question at this point. Ruruko, what is the last form? Lusty Eay, basically the reason why she will be able to have children of totally demonic blood if she does it with me. Most of the girls instantly understood the three ways to activate the ability, while Ruruko didn't, but Yura's hand stopped her from asking what it was, while Sona blushed quite a bit. Lusty Eay, and what do you say? Do you accept or I withdraw? Sona, okay, I'll do it. Anyway, if it works, we'll do it sometime after all. Lusty Eay, having had the confirmation and permission, just approached her while Sona closed her eyes waiting for the kiss. Her entire entourage was watching, although Saji was not about to allow it. Tsubaki's gaze stopped him instantly. Lusty Eay just bent down in front of Sona and held her chin, and approached her face, slowly joining her lips with Sona's, which when she felt Lusty Eay's lips, something inside her exploded at the contact, while her own being demanded that she hold him so that he would not separate from her lips. But Lusty Eay only kissed her for a second before separating and sitting in front of her, waiting to ask her what she had. Although he had ended the kiss, Sona's mind was unable to process it, so under everyone's gaze she continued kissing with her eyes closed until Tsubaki herself coughed, waking her from that dream. Sona could only stand up straight, watching Lusty Eay trying to hide his desire for more of those lips. Lusty Eay, okay, let's get started. Remember to answer me with the truth from your heart, or else I'll leave immediately. Sona, okay, I'm ready. Lusty Eay, what caught your attention when you saw me for the first time? Sona, your serious and mature demeanor gave me the impression that you were a serious, firm, and responsible person, which immediately attracted me. Lusty Eay, well, what did you think when you found out my real age? Sona, I didn't pay attention to that, it wasn't relevant to me. Between an experienced man who knows how to treat a woman and an immature, arrogant and disgusting young man, I would lean towards you. Lusty Eay, okay, the next questions are more intimate, so let's continue. If you had to accept more women because my race is very active in relation to night activities and because of that you are not able to follow me 100%, what would you say? Sona, I don't like the idea of sharing my partner, but knowing that your race is the pinnacle of that, I guess I would have to accept it because I couldn't completely satisfy you in a certain way. As I know, although your resistance has limits, it replenishes quickly, so I couldn't play along with you for more than 3 or 4 nights in a row, so I would need help for that even if I don't like it. Lusty Eay, that answers the next question about whether you could follow me completely well. If you had to choose between your noble status and staying by my side, what would your choice be? Sona, although it is true that it is my responsibility to maintain my status and that of my family and home, if I were given the choice, my choice would be to stay by your side. After all, wealth and status are not very relevant to me when it comes to the people closest to me, especially my family, husband and son. Lusty Eay, well, now I just have one more thing to tell you. My race also has a curse that affects only me and no one else. If I told you that if you pass this test, and you manage to make me fall in love and we form a family, only you of the other women could give me a child of my blood and the others would have children of me but without my genes of my incubus race, what would you think about it? That last question surprised everyone because they didn't know about it despite reading the reports that Aazel sent them before. Sona was very excited about that, but knowing what it meant, she just stood up and looked at Lusty Eay with complete confidence, answering, Sona, if that's the case, I'll make sure to never betray your trust. I'll swear to love you no matter how many women you have at my side, as long as you swear to give me a child from both of us with all our traits, and that it will be proof that I am the first of your women. Lusty Eay just smiled at her conviction in her answer, and the joy of knowing that. Lusty Eay, well, you passed the test, Sona, so I guess from now on you and I are engaged, so let's make sure to nurture this relationship until it grows as it should if wife. Sona, of course, my husband. And under everyone's gaze, Sona smiled like never before due to the happiness she felt at having been accepted by Lusty Eay despite not knowing each other well. Chapter 8 Decisions. Graia family. Things with them were quite complicated. Since everyone found out about Graia's feelings, things became quite uncomfortable. And not only that, but she herself even claimed to be able to abandon her husband Issei, son of Venelana and Zeoticus, for the man she loved from the beginning, even having a child with him. Her decision seemed imperative. Aries, who was present since she recognized the man she loved since her youth, and who, from what she supposes, she abandoned the moment she met his brother. Even her nobility was the same. After all, Graia was a recognized woman in the underworld for being the wife of a Mahu and the second strongest devil. Rias's room, Graia mansion. Rias was sitting on her bed thinking about everything that was happening since the appearance of that Lusty Eay. Her head could not process it all. First, a man had to be the leader of her group because the other faction leaders did not believe her suitable, which gave her a bad impression of him from the beginning. When Aazel contacted him, things became quite uncomfortable when she heard how he was having relations with a woman. Then the moment he appeared, her refusal towards him disappeared when she saw his beautiful features and toned body, but again everything became uncomfortable after her brother's own wife and sister-in-law recognized him and started crying for him. Which was worse when he saw her and quickly left there with a look that reflected how unhappy he was to see her being noticed by her. And the worst thing is that in her desperation she attacked the leader of the Fallen for answers from him. Rias, things got complicated. First it was Riser, then the Fallen invading us, and now this? Aquino. It was a surprise to learn that Sama was not the first man in Graia's heart, and even more so to hear her say that she wanted to return to him and leave her husband. Asia. I didn't think someone's first love was that important. She must have truly loved him to end up so dejected upon seeing him again after so many years. Kaneko, although it was noticeable that he didn't like seeing her again at all. Aquino, well, having heard your story about Aazel, you'd expect him to be unhappy after leaving him for so many years, don't you think? Besides, leaving that aside, you have to admit that this Lusty Eay guy isn't bad at all despite his age, don't you think? Rias, Aquino, please, this is not the time for that. We are possibly talking about a divorce between my brother and sister-in-law because of that man and you thinking about how beautiful he looks. Aquino, besides being hexy, hot, a real hunk, and knowing his skill in bed from how he made that girl moan on the call, he is someone quite good and experienced. Kaneko, perverted Aquino-senpai. Asia, Aquino-san shouldn't say that. After all, we don't know that person to say it like that. Aquino, hey Asia, don't worry, after all I'm sure we'll have the opportunity to meet him, since he'll be the leader of the new group when the meeting takes place, right? Issei, I don't think someone like him should be with us. After all, it would be a group of teenagers and an older man specialized in getting women into bed like that. Kaneko, disgusting, despicable, you are also a threat to our safety, pervert. Kiba, I don't think he's like that. After all, if he was Graia's partner in the past, he must have been someone quite noble and loyal for her to notice him. Besides the fact that the leader of the Fallen spoke of him before, from what I heard from Genshiro, who gave me the information while we were here. Rias, do you have any information about Kiba? Kiba, not much, but according to what I know, Azazel mentioned the relationship he had with Graia before she left with Sir Issei, abandoning him, and his personality is that of someone serious. I don't know much more because Sona and her group have the rest of the information. Rias, I should ask Sona more about it when I see her. Asia, I hope this doesn't end badly. Meanwhile, Heaven's 7th floor, Archangel's Hall. Michael, after learning of the biological situation of Azazel's companion, quickly went to Heaven to organize his ideas. It was not a common or possible case that one of the race of the angels could have children naturally, unless with a creature that basically its only essence is sin, as the succubi are with lust. Basically, he had no idea why he had just found out about this, but he supposed that the system being incomplete due to the absence of his father, it had certain gaps where the control of the said did not reach, and this conception information did not reach him. So assuming that, he decided to see what strange cases continued to occur. Although the fact of Lusty Eay's mere existence was a miracle both for him and for his race, if he could talk to him, and luckily he knew what he wanted to know, he could find a way for his people to have offspring. Michael, this is complicated, my brothers. I believe that the fallen will find a way for the angels to leave descendants without the fear of falling because of it. Michael sat across from his brothers, watching as his words hit them hard. Uriel, you're playing Michael, aren't you? It's impossible for angels to do such a thing without ending up falling, which wouldn't work for us if we exchanged the life of an experienced angel for that of a newborn. Michael, I'm not playing and much less lying, my brother. After all, I can't or we can do it. During the meeting I had today with the Mahu Lucifer and the fallen leader, Azazel gave valuable information about a person born from a warrior angel and a woman of another species, being that the angel retained his holiness without falling into sin. Said person is not young in itself, so knowing his age, it was before father left the world, so it is not a system error but a miracle. Metratone, are you sure about that, Michael? It's not some kind of trap on the part of the fallen to get to us or the system itself? Michael, you don't need to assume that, Metratone, since I myself met the aforementioned at this meeting, although that in itself isn't the most surprising thing about him being half angel, but rather what his other half of race is. Gabriel, hey, what's up, brother? Don't leave us in suspense. Michael, first, before telling you that information, you must swear that this information cannot leave here. Understood, your other half race is that of incubus, inherited from your succubus mother. Upon hearing this, the relatively peaceful and serious faces of his brothers quickly turned into confusion and surprise upon hearing it. Citri Mansion, 1 hour after Lusty Eay and Sona's meeting and engagement. Sona, after Lusty Eay's acceptance of her premature engagement to him, after giving him the benefit of the doubt, showing him that she can truly love him despite different things, they were talking and getting to know each other a little for an hour before he retired to talk with Azazel. As soon as he left, Sona decided to go tell the ultimatum to her family along with her nobility, although certain people were a little reluctant, such as Saji and Yura, because they did not trust him on behalf of Yura, because she does not have much confidence in him because of his species related to sexual desire, and Saji for the simple fact of getting engaged to their president. Right now all of them were in front of the Citri patriarchs, who were waiting for news from their daughter regarding the subject of her engagement to Lusty Eay. But seeing how their daughter had a slight smile, they assumed that everything went wonderfully with him. Sona, mother, father accepted the engagement. Although he was reluctant at first, he accepted me after verifying that I was not lying about the reason that he wanted her to be my partner. Mother, I'm glad, my daughter. After all, I've never seen you smile for a boy, even though he is a man in all rights. Better said, Fufufu. My daughter is going for the grand prize, hey. Sona, mother, please let's show maturity, okay? Father, oh, my daughter, I will finally be able to see my grandchildren from at least one of my daughters. I hope Seraphil follows the example you showed by getting engaged and gives us those grandchildren we so long for. Sona, you too, father. Mother, my daughter, when you have your children you will also want to make her feel that way when she brings you her first man. Father, and especially when he gave his first kiss. Sona, wait, how do they know that if I didn't tell them? Mother, daughter, parents know when that happens. Sona, it was Tsubaki, right? Sona just gave a serious look to her queen, who looked away from hers, coughing to hide it. Sona, we will talk about this later, but now let's talk about a serious matter, about what we will do to present him to the council and the rest of the heirs and patriarchs of the other noble houses. I have his permission, and he told me that he did not mind making himself known after considering it a bit during our talk. Only if he could trust you to prevent the council from trying something against him and him having to answer for it. If you can promise him that, then he will have no problem showing himself when we give the news of my engagement at the meeting of young demons. Father, that's difficult but not impossible. I'll try to talk to some friends of mine so they can support me if necessary, but they'll surely ask for a deal in exchange for not acting on him. So you might have to wait for him to be engaged to another heiress just to make sure they'll have him on our side even minimally. Mother, but that would not ensure that in the future they would want to continue compromising him just for his ability to conceive children with the mother's pure blood. If necessary, we must convince Seraphil to have a hand in the matter to ensure whatever they plan for the future. Sona, that's easier said than done. They haven't told you about this yet, right? Mother, no, we haven't done it yet. She's still on her trip dealing with internal affairs with the yokai faction, so it's safer that she'll come back in a few days and we'll tell her. Father, but just in case, make sure you keep an eye on your fiancé. I don't trust him not to find out about some macabre thing he has. Sona, and I thought I wouldn't have to deal with her on the subject. Tsubaki, excuse my intrusion, but Kaisho remembers that she must tell you about that topic about her fiancé and the harem issue. Sona, oh right, thanks Tsubaki. Lusty Eay's parents told me a certain subject about his race regarding his sexual appetite due to his incuba race. According to what he said, it was possible that due to his age his sexual desire is much greater than when he was young. So in case the council affirms that request about him in exchange for marrying another heiress, they will have to talk to me. I want to know who other than me my husband would marry. If necessary, I will choose one of my friends who is in the same situation as me, and I will give them the option of settling down with my husband if they wish. Father, that's good. At least we have that card in play if necessary. Sona, and one more thing, it's about the future child I will have with him. Mother, oh, and what's up with that, daughter? Sona, Lusty Eay told me that one of his sexual abilities gives him the ability to get me pregnant if he wants to. Mother, what? Father, that's true. Sona, yes, but that being that this son or daughter would be half incubus or succubus and half demon on my part, that is, a child with the blood inheritance of both parts. As for his part, angel would only give him a certain capacity to withstand damage to the sacred light and everything related to it. But after that he will not be able to have another child of that same capacity, because in his life he spent the other 5 opportunities with women who left him in the middle of that process. I would be the only woman who would give him a child with her blood and mine, even if he has more due to his condition as an incubus. Mother, that's surprising. I had no knowledge of that about your race. Father, wait, you said it was through a process, right? And what would that process be? Sona. Father, Sanea. Sona, I should have relations with him for 4 days in a row with only breaks to eat and sleep, meaning at least 12 hours a day, so that my body assimilates his incubus genome. After that I would be 100% sure to be pregnant with a child of both races. Mother, and when do you plan to start? Sona, Mothbak. Mother, what? I want to have my grandchildren. Father. Sona, father, say something. Father, I don't know what to say. Partly I want to have my grandchildren in my arms as soon as possible. Partly I think you're still too young for that, or at least for that level of pleasure. Sona, seriously. Mother, You'll need more companions if that's not all your endurance capacity, my daughter. Sona, I know, mother, I know. Even though I don't like it, I know I couldn't compete with him in that field. After all, he has more than enough experience, and his blood from his species helps him in that. Father, you can ask your entourage for help, except your pawn, don't you think? Sona, and oh, I will not bring my pieces into my relationship. Mother, never say that, my daughter. After all, it is better to have companions that you know and who obey you than those who are at your level and fight for leadership. In addition, a woman can fall in love with a committed man, and more so if they are his wife's dear who spend more time with him than the other heiresses. It is not something out of the ordinary in our society. After all, if they see that you enjoy it at some point, they will also want to try it. Keep that in mind. Our race is like that after all, and that also goes for you, Tsubaki, and other girls. Even if you are servants of my daughter, if that happens, talk to her. If I find out that you did something behind her back, you will know why I am the matriarch of the Citri clan. None of the young women could say anything, although the matriarch's tone was gentle. Her gaze was serious and cold, leaving even her daughter frozen, unable to speak or respond. Chapter 9: Situations. Olympus, home of the 12 Olympians. The atmosphere in Olympus was cold. The beating they gave Aries left many consequences in the faction. After all, this was seen by many people from different factions. They did not know what to do because Aries still had not recovered from his fight. That blow destroyed his entire abdomen internally. Although most wanted to take revenge for this humiliation, the other side did not see it that way, especially when seen by many factions outside their own. This was a legitimate duel when proposed by Aries and accepted by Lusty Eay. If they did not respect that, it was very likely that the credibility of the entire Olympus would be decimated by doing something against him. Instead, being oblivious to it, the factions that were watching this and did not have a good relationship with them released the news and the video of the fight for everything supernatural. Their goal was to overshadow the Greek gods. But this was not good for Lusty Eay himself, because this video reached the hands of the demonic council itself, and therefore the entire population of the underworld with it. Underworld, capital of Lilith. The population was surprised by the simple fact that someone challenged the god of war in a fight and won, even more so when seeing that after he entered that transformation he achieved it with a single blow. It would have been much more surprising if the video had been complete, showing how Azazel removed him from the arena. But the one who sent the video only showed the fight between him and Aries. Gremory Mansion. Rias, her entourage, and her parents were sitting in the living room. After the incident the day before, Issei and Graia spoke with them, making known their position in their relationship. The news shook everyone greatly when they heard both say that they would separate. Right now, Graia and Issei retired to their home to communicate this to Milikas alone. Rias did not know what to say about it. Even her parents did not speak as they were digesting the news about this. While that happened, Issei and the others were in the main room talking to each other until Aquino herself got up from her seat, calling attention to her person. Rias, Aquino, what's going on? Aquino, excuse my manners, but you should check the news. Something happened in Olympus that is related to that man. That caught his attention immediately, so the Gremory Patriarch turned on the television and immediately watched the broadcast of the fight that took place on Olympus. Everyone else arrived just as they saw the form that Lusty Eay showed and with which he knocked down the god Aries with a blow. Rias, I didn't think he was that strong. Venelana, he's not happy. Xiaticus, he's upset, very upset. I don't think Graia should get close to him again. Rias, why do they say that? Xiaticus, daughter, you are still young, that's why you don't see it, but we, being older people, know when a person is releasing their frustration. This must have happened because Graia saw him again. It's likely that he didn't want that, and seeing that she knows he's still alive must have been frustrating and annoying, knowing her situation. A cheated on man is not something that is easy to handle, especially after so many years. Venelana, and you can see she's trying to stay calm. She must have good self-control so she doesn't explode at that moment, but as always. Xiaticus, there's a limit to that control. Rias, do you think she doesn't have a chance to get back with him then? Venelana, it will have to be seen, my daughter. It will depend on whether he wants it or not after all. Xiaticus, this won't end well. Rias, why do you say that, father? Zeoticus. Information regarding their daughter species. Incubi can have 2 types of children as they wish and whenever they want, regardless of their partner's race and fertility. Asia. Excuse me, Lord Gremory, but what do you mean by that? Zeoticus. What I mean is that it is possible for him to have a child with only the genetic traits of the mother, meaning that he can produce children of pure blood quality if he is with a demon, and although our birth rate is low, if he wants it, that woman will have his child no matter how low that rate is for her partner's species. That shocked those present. They knew about keeping their partner's blood, but getting pregnant if he wanted to was a new topic. Venelana. That's surprising, especially Zeoticus. But why do you say it won't end well? Zeoticus. Because the second case of producing offspring is the most important for the incubi because of what it entails. This confused everyone, but without noticing, 3 people approached them quietly, wanting to hear what they were saying about Lusty Eay. Rias. And what does it entail? Zeoticus. Tell me, daughter, how do you think the incubi were able to survive if they only gave birth to children of other species instead of their own? Issei. They couldn't do it, they would be extinct, right? Zeoticus. Exactly, that's why to keep their race alive they had a method for it. An incubus can give as many children of other species as he wants, but in the case of one of his race and full blood he must fall completely in love with his wife. Rias. And what's the importance of that? It can produce children from both sides, right? Venelana. Zeoticus. Don't tell me that. Zeoticus. Yes, Venelana. The reason for this, daughter, is that an incubus only has a certain amount of opportunity to produce a child of incuba blood in its lifetime. This information surprised those present and the people listening behind them. Rias. A certain amount? Zeoticus. Let me explain. They can only have between 2 or 5 children who are incubus in their life, unlike those of their partner's race. They love both of them, yes, but to maintain their species that incubus child is very important to them. But those who start that method but their partner leaves before finishing it suffer a lot because they lose that opportunity. It does not matter if it was completed or not later. If she returns in time, this will not be right because it does not matter that she continued that method later. If it is interrupted, the opportunity to conceive that incubus child is lost. Basically, the couple would be prematurely aborting that fetus and the man would lose that opportunity. I think they had to have a certain amount of relationship in a period of time for the method to work, but if they do not comply with that, the method is lost along with that life. That is why I say that he will not return to Graia no matter how hard he tries. Everyone was surprised, but suddenly they all heard a cry of suffering behind them, turning to see Sir Issei and Milikas trying to help Graia, who was crying inconsolably on the ground. Graia. No, please, this has to be a joke. She quickly went and grabbed Zeoticus, who held her back as she charged at him while crying. Graia. Please tell me that's not true. Zeoticus. I'm sorry, but it's true. If before you abandoned him he insisted on having more relations for a while, it's very likely that he was trying to have an incubus child with you, Graia. Graia. No, please. Sir Issei, father, you have no proof of that. It may not be the case. Zeoticus. Sir Issei, do you remember that Graia and your first pregnancy failed to form? Venelana. Zeoticus, don't say that. The milia are present. Zeoticus. I'm sorry, but it's necessary. Sir Issei, you remember, right? Sir Issei, if I remember, it was very painful to lose our first child, and even more so for Graia. Zeoticus. Sir Issei, listen to me carefully, but that fetus was possibly not your child but Lusty Eay's. That news ended up throwing the whole atmosphere off balance. When they were about to continue talking, they heard Graia burst into tears again, but this time she ended up falling unconscious on the ground, scaring everyone. All Grayfi/Mama. Aphrodite's chambers. After the fight between Lusty Eay and Aries, Aphrodite herself ended up locking herself in her cabin. She was devastated because before Lusty Eay left she saw the look he gave her for worrying about Aries. She only knew that look once when she was young, and she had not been with any man yet except for that person who made her fall in love. But as always, it only took one mistake to send everything to the trash, and above all the love she once received and was pure. Aphrodite, I'm so sorry. Citri Mansion. After hearing the news from his daughter about her marriage, Lord Citri decided to get to work, so he summoned the patriarchs Agars and Astaroth, who were his best friends. He needed their help if he wanted to give his daughter the opportunity to save herself from the other heirs who were worthless in their eyes, and knowing them better, they wanted the same for their little daughters. As for Sona and her mother, they were both talking about everything related to how to get Lusty Eay to fall in love with her, and a little education regarding the sexual field that she will have to face in the future by her side. Sona, mother, I don't think this is necessary right now, right? Currently, Sona and her mother were taking body measurements to have Sona's wedding dress made for her engagement. Sona's mother, obviously she is, daughter, after all, if the council accepts the proposal, it is more than certain that the party for both of them will take place that same day or at the latest the next day. Sona, it's a temporary commitment, mother, he hasn't confirmed it yet. He said that we would be engaged by name only until I prove that I can make him fall in love with me. Sona's mother, it still doesn't hurt to have your wedding dress on a little early, so stop complaining and accentuate your hips to make them look better. Sona. Sona's mother, daughter, in case Graia wants. Sona, I won't allow it. I know that I have no way of winning against her in terms of power, but that won't necessarily define whether or not she can return to Lusty Eay. I know from his mouth that she doesn't have the slightest chance of him noticing her after what he told me, so I'm 100% sure that there won't be any problems regarding that matter as long as I make sure that I fall in love with him as I am with him. Rest assured that not even she will be able to stop me from marrying him. Sona's mother, and as for what I mentioned about your entourage. Sona, I don't know, mother, although I don't want to involve them in this. I know that what you said is more likely to happen. After all, even I gave in to my sin in the end for him, as you said, so I don't know what to think about that yet, and even more so if I possibly have to accept other heirs by my side. Sona's mother, then you must prepare for it, daughter. You must take the reins of all of them as soon as the moment presents itself, or else you will be displaced. He promised you to be the last to use that opportunity, so make sure you don't ruin it like Graia did with him. Sona, I know. Co-apartment complexes. In one of the rooms, Aazel and Lusty Eay were sitting drinking a glass of wine while talking about what they would do now that Lusty Eay accepted the engagement with the heiress Citri. Although the fact that the video of him beating Aries was circulating throughout the supernatural world, Lusty Eay was calm because he did not give important information about himself that would compromise him. Aazel, you really don't care if the video is free? Lusty Eay, no, they'll just see a man kicking the ass of one of the Greek gods. Even if my appearance is seen, it won't cause me any problems after all. Although this world is ruled by power, not many will find this interesting. Aazel, and if they see it? Lusty Eay, I don't care. After all, they don't know where I live or where I am currently, so I'm not worried. Now what worries me most is the fact that I will have to expose my nature to that bunch of decrepit old demons. Aazel, I'm surprised you agreed to do it after all the fuss you made about it. Lusty Eay, I decided to live my life again as Aazel. After all, she shows that she is truly in love with me, so I will give her the doubt to prove it to me before using the last chance I have left. As for my identity, I do not care. If they come for me, they will regret it. I have lived under the shadows for too long. It is time for me to change that again. Aazel, I hope you know what you're doing. After all, 2 out of 6 of them are close. Graia and Penemy will know when you do it, and they might not keep quiet. The rest of us don't have that much information except for Odin's Valkyrie, who is currently training the new generation of Asgard warriors. Lusty Eay, the others have no relevance in this. But the second demon with whom I was together, it is possible that she will appear as soon as I show up, first of all possibly. The other 2 I don't know, but based on what I know of them, I don't think they will come looking for me. After all, their arrogant attitude wouldn't allow it. Aazel, this won't go well and you know it. Lusty Eay, I know, that's why I decided to face him now. This wouldn't have happened if I had never met Graia again, but I need to close the story with an ending and move on. Chapter 10 Help. Yokai Faction Throne Room. Yasaka was sitting at her desk thinking a little about the recent topic that was circulating in her faction. The video of how a guy knocked down one of the 12 great Olympic gods generated many waves in her people. 2 of the Kyoto clans, being the Himejima and the Shinra, were active lately because of this video. She did not know why, but she thought the reason was that strange man Lusty Eay who faced Aries. She did not know the reason for his interest, but knowing the two old goats that ran it was not something that would bring good things to her region if they made it happen. Without her daughter seeing it, her most precious asset in the world jumped into her lap again and fell asleep on the spot. Having her was the only good thing she had in her life, and all thanks to that man who helped her with that in her time. Unfortunately, he disappeared after helping her have her. She knew that she could not reply anything to him. After all, she only asked him to give her a child, and then she herself fired him from at her side. The man just nodded and disappeared from her sight and life. Kunu, Dad. Yasaka knew how much her daughter wanted to meet her father, but she couldn't give her that gift because she didn't know how or where to find him. If only she hadn't used him to have her so long ago and had freed him, she wouldn't be suffering in silence for his absence and for her daughter's desire. Yasaka, where will you be, Antony? Underworld Gremory Mansion. The situation was bad in the Gremory residence. After the news from the Gremory Patriarch, things got complicated regarding Graia. The information was like a blunt blow to her head. Right now she was lying in one of the rooms resting with Asia, who was healing her, and Venelana, who was helping her. In the dining room, Zeoticus, Sir Issei and the rest of Rias's entourage, and she herself were talking about it. Sir Issei, father. Zeoticus, no, Sir Issei, I already told you, the reason she got pregnant in just 1 month of knowing her was too strange due to our birth rate, and you knew it. That fetus was not yours, it was that guy's. That's why she had a sudden abortion, since by not receiving the father's genome the fetus would not be able to form. Sir Issei. Rias, hey, can you tell me what all this is about? How is it that my brother and Graia had a child and it was aborted? Sir Issei. Zeoticus, Rias, your brother and Graia after the Great War both got married the next day despite all the mess. A month after that, Graia gave indications of being pregnant, which caused a stir. But with the Juka it was authenticated that her son was one of pure demonic race, so there was no doubt about his fidelity to Sir Issei. What we did not count on was the innate ability of an incubus that gives the same results. What happens is that a week after burying us, Graia suddenly aborted the fetus when she was in the bathroom. That's why I think that child was from that person and not yours, Sir Issei. After all, she and he did it before she abandoned him and went with you. Sir Issei, I need time alone. Yeah, this is a lot to process right now. Sir Issei just stood up from the couch and left the place in silence. Again everyone fell silent because of this, but Issei couldn't contain himself and asked. Issei, so Graia was unfaithful to that guy Lusty Eay with Rias's brother, right? Kiba Issei. Zeoticus, yes, Red Emperor, she was. That was the reason Graia didn't want to have another child until a few years ago, where she got Milikas with Sir Issei. Now I don't know what will happen regarding that guy and her, because an infidelity can be difficult but not impossible to forgive. But losing a child because of her is not something that is forgiven. That's why I said that he wouldn't forgive her for anything in the world. Losing a child with the supposed woman you loved is a very hard blow for a man. Issei, but... Drake, you're right, mate. Rias, Red Emperor. His presence surprised everyone present by simply speaking to them, although not in a figurative sense. Drake, losing a child because of a woman is one of the worst pains a man can feel, even more so after knowing that it is one of the few you can have. That is why the Incuba race is one of those that suffer the most pain because of their children compared to the others. Practically their life revolves around them when they have them. Zeoticus, as he said, for them children are all that matters to them. Now tell me, how would you feel if you married your beloved and she was pregnant with your child and she left you for another, and for whatever reason she aborted the fetus of your child? How would you feel? It is surprising that he did not hunt her down and kill her for it. That shows that he has very good self-control of his emotions, because if he did not, very possibly Milikas would not be born even if Sir Issei defended her from his wrath. Rias, wait, father, are you saying that guy can do anything to my brother? Zeoticus, I didn't say that. Rias, then. Drake, what the demon is trying to say is that he can kill his partner's fertility just by wishing it. It's one of the curses that incubi have to ensure that the women they are with don't cheat on them, or to punish them for hurting their child, or in this case fetus. I'm surprised he didn't curse her back then. If he had, she wouldn't be able to give birth to his child, and she never would. Rias, that's it. Kaneko, very bizarre. Zeoticus, are you really? He said, drawing attention. The reason for that is to punish her properly. Tell me, Rias and Kanika, what would you do if your partner murders your son and you could not kill him for X reasons? Then it would go unpunished, and you would be in mourning for eternity without getting justice for it, and all while the causer can go and have children without any repair. What would you do, huh? That method is only justice for them in case it happens. Everyone fell silent when the eldest Gremory said that. Even Drake, who showed no interest in them, thought that this news was too much for them, so he gave some additional information he had about the incubi. Citri Territory's family mansion. Both Sona and her mother returned home after making the preparations that her mother wanted to make for her wedding. Sona's entourage was waiting for her in front of the door when they arrived and helped them get in everything they brought. Although the atmosphere was strange, things remained the same, although Sona's mother raised the doubt that possibly her entourage is thinking about her previous words to help Sona. Inside, the Patriarch Citri was waiting for them along with the Patriarch Agars and Astaroth in the living room, although Sona expected that did not include that even her daughters and friends would be present equally. Latia and Sikvera were sitting next to their respective parents waiting for the arrival of their friend Sona, who had just arrived with her mother. Lord Citri. Well, I think we all know what is about to be discussed now. No, as we discussed before, my daughter decided to take a partner, but this is not of demonic race. As all those present know what that implies, I decided to call you to help me in this. After all, although she is not of our race, her ability to have children of demonic blood is nothing that we can leave aside. No. Lord Agars, so what do you have in mind for us to help you keep the rest of the families and the council in line then? Lord Astaroth, I hope it is something useful. Lord Citri. Lord Citri, that's what I'm getting at. As you know, my daughter's partner can give her pure blood Citri children. After all, her incubating race is good at that, right? This information shocked the two patriarchs, who exclaimed at it. Lord Agars, wait, your daughter managed to find and get engaged to an incubus. Lord Astaroth, this is news. Then your species was thought to be extinct. Lord Citri, yes, I know. When I found out, I also thought that. But that's not what I want to get to. Now I need your help so that the council doesn't try to control it along with the other houses. Obviously this won't be free. My daughter gave me a way to gain your support. They both just remained silent as they listened to the plan and the benefits that the eldest Citri told them about helping him with Lusty Eay and his daughter when they presented him to everyone at the young demon's meeting. Meanwhile, in Sona's room, she and her entourage were with the Aries, Astaroth, and Agars to talk about her recent engagement and her help in this, so that they do not want to use her partner as a stud. Sikvera, wait, Sona, are you telling me you want us to get engaged to your partner too, just to prevent the council from doing it with other women? Sona, yes, in simple words. I know how it sounds, but let me tell you that I know very well how he really is. He is a serious person, and despite his race, he is not a depraved pig like the Phoenix Heir or the others. He is someone noble and experienced. Latia, if his age tells you how experienced he is, there's no need to say it, don't you think? Sona, even at her age, she's better than most heirs who are horny 24 hours a day, don't you think? Sikvera, just answer me one thing, Sona, is all this at his request or perhaps yours? Sona, don't be confused, Sikvera, this is by my will and not his. He said that due to his race his appetite in that area is high, which would be difficult for me to accept everything from him alone. But he didn't ask me to bring other heiresses into his life apart from me, who asked him to in this case. Latia, wait, Sona, did you ask her to get engaged to you? Sona, yes, he was the best option in terms of a partner that I see as plausible to spend my long life by his side, in addition to the fact that I was attracted to him as soon as I met him. After all, he was the man who basically made the current Mrs. Lucifer Gracia Lucifuge a woman. Sikvera, while wait there, Sona, he was the Ice Queen's first man. Sona, it was, but she betrayed him with the current Mahu Lucifer and his partner. If it weren't for him showing up that day, no one would know about this. Latia, Sona, tell me first, you talked to him about this before, right? Sona, what? Latia, so you mentioned that apart from you, we would also be with him or some other heiress, right? Sona, I didn't tell her, but I knew it was possible that other women were involved because of the advice. Sikvera, I mean, he doesn't know anything about us and we don't know anything about him. How do you think all this will work without knowing each other first? Sona, I didn't think about that. Latia, this time you weren't very smart. No, Sona, but it was to be expected. After all, you finally fell in love, especially with an older man. Sona, aha, and the single lady says it, at least I have someone I love as my partner, don't you think? Latia, daughter of Sigvera, calm down both of you. First of all, Sona, you should introduce us to the one who should be our husband first of all to get to know each other, don't you think? Sona. Latia, don't worry, we won't steal it from you. Sona, it's okay, after all it's normal that you want to see him before jumping into a commitment, but I ask you please to be careful what you tell him. He is very reluctant to demons due to his previous relationship with Graia, so it was very difficult for me to allow him to try to make him fall in love with me. Sigvera, you really fell in love with him that much, didn't you? But well, we'll see how it goes and see if we can help you take our hand. After all, it's interesting to meet a species that was thought to be extinct. Latia, I guess I can't be the only one who didn't try. Let's see who this lusty Issei is who left our friends flat smitten. Sona, says the marblehead who doesn't know how to behave properly. Latia, silly. Sona, silly. Sigvera, enough both of you, now Sona, take us to meet him, will you, before we change our minds? Sona, okay, Tsubaki tells my parents that I'll go out to introduce my friends to Lusty Eay. In the meantime, we'll be at my house. Right now, we'll go to my home in Kwa and wait for him there. Tsubaki, understood Kaicho. Chapter 11. Lusty Eay was walking through the city quietly. After all, right now he was engaged to a young demon much younger than him. The idea seemed absurd as soon as he heard it, but the signs that she truly loved him were obvious, so he decided to put aside his aversion to his race and gave her a chance. After all, it was time for him to finally start a family like he always wanted, and he hoped that she would be the one of so many who passed through his life and were not. He just stopped and sighed, hoping nothing would happen in this new relationship he would have. Seeing that he was in a park, he decided to sit on a bench nearby while he watched the children play. During all these years, the only happiness he managed to obtain was watching the kids play together with their parents. Thinking that they could have been him and his late son, he knew that doing this would only open the old wound he had because of that stupid woman even more, but he couldn't help it, after all. Lusty Eay, I will always remember my beloved son no matter what. In my heart, I regret not having saved you when you were not even born. Without taking his eyes off the children playing, a woman approached and sat next to him on the bench while Messiah held her baby who was laughing in her arms. Lusty Eay, hearing her laughter, just turned to see the mother and son who were happy together. In an instant, Lusty Eay glimpsed an image of him carrying a baby in his arms while the mother was laughing at seeing them so happy. His hand moved a little as if wanting to reach the image, but he quickly came to his senses and lowered it before the woman noticed. He stayed a few more seconds admiring the scene and then left there, leaving the mother with her son alone. Right now he was leaving the park towards a drink stand. He needed to take the bitterness out of his soul with a drink, but before he could do so he received a call from Sona. Lusty Eay. What do you need from me, Sona? Sona. Lusty Eay? I need you to come to my home again. I have something to talk to you about regarding our engagement, and it's important. Can you do it? Lusty Eay. Okay, I don't have anything important, so I'm heading over to your house right now. I'll be there in 5 minutes. See you. Lusty Eay just closed the communication, and sighing again to eliminate his melancholy, he headed directly to Sona's residence, thinking about the important things she wanted to talk to him about. At Sona's residence, she was looking at her cell phone while she saw Lusty Eay's name on it. She didn't know why, but she noticed the melancholic voice he had when he answered it, which worried her a lot. Sigvera, noticing how worried she was, caught her attention, which brought Sona out of that state. Sona, sorry Sigvera. Lusty Eay told me you were already on your way. You'd be arriving in 5 minutes. Sigvera, nothing happened? You seemed worried about Sona. Sona, don't worry, I just found the way he spoke when he answered me strange. He seemed hurt. Sigvera, hurt? It must be because he remembered his relationship with Graia. For sure, now that he accepted you, surely the memories he had with her came back when comparing you. Sona, I thought so too. Latia, then just show her that you're not the same as her, so she doesn't have to worry about you doing the same thing to her that she did to you. besides for being a race that are lustful hunters, I never thought they cared about love in that way. Sona, that's why you weren't even able to have more friends apart from us, Latia. You never tried to understand others if they weren't relevant to your life. Latia, aha, and that's why I'm not worried about someone asking for my hand right now, you know? You should learn from me so you wouldn't have to play your little games to stay free, right? Sigvera, enough both of you. Latia, you know very well that the council will compromise us both on the day of the meeting of the heirs, so do not sing victory because no one asked you, since they will choose for you for sure. Even Rias will not be saved. Even having escaped from Riser, the council will not let her be with her pawn even if he is the bearer of the Welsh dragon. Latia, Chist, I'll grant you the point on this. You're right that they won't accept me being single. Sona, we'd better get ready to see Lusty Eay. After all, he'll be here in a few minutes. I'll go make some tea. We'll need it when we talk to him about your engagement. Sona just left them while she went to prepare tea for Lusty Eay, which surprised and exalted her friends since they knew her well. She had never prepared something for a person, not even her family, according to what they heard from her, so this action truly surprised them both. Latia, wow, you're really in love with him, aren't you? Sigvera, it seems so. From what I see, she is able to make us see a side of her that we never saw before, and all because of this Lusty Eay. So love really changes people. Latia, not me. Nadia will change who I am, and I can assure you of that. Sigvera, we'll see if it's true, Latia, we'll see. But right now I'm really intrigued to meet the man who changed my friend like that. Gremory Mansion. Rias was silent because of the news that both her father and the Dragon Gales had said a few minutes ago. Right now she was in the company of her entire entourage, who were also silent for the same reason. They did not know what to think about that. After all, although it is true they knew Graia, what she did was not something that would be forgiven, even less so being one of the few events that the subject could have in his life. Asia, how much pain Mr. Lusty Eay must be suffering now. His words brought everyone out of their state. Rias, being the closest, was the first to answer him. Rias, it could be Asia. After all, father is right. Losing a child is not something easy to digest or appease even after so many years. Aquino, now it is more than justified why he wanted to leave there quickly that day. He didn't even want to see Graia again. Kaneko, it's hard to live through something like that. Kiba, I don't want to imagine what he suffered the day he found out about that. After all, no one wants to experience that in their life. Issei, come on guys, there's no need to get all worked up about it. After all, it's not something related to us, right? Rias, Issei. Kaneko just stood up and quickly sank her fist into Issei's stomach, sending him rolling on the ground under the gaze of the others. Asia, seeing that, ran towards Issei to heal him while Rias came out of the shock. Rias, Kaneko, what do you think you're doing? Kaneko, you can't allow him to behave like that on that subject. A father losing his son is not an issue that can be dismissed just like that. Rias couldn't say anything after learning about her case. She even noticed how Aquino and Kiba agreed with her about that, so she sighed and spoke again. Rias, I understand your point, Kaneko, but it was not necessary to hit him like that. I know it was very insensitive of him, but he doesn't know much about the subject, unlike us. Kaneko. Issei, because cough cough was that hit cough. The bracelet on his hand manifested again, drawing everyone's attention, and suddenly Drake spoke with an icy voice that disturbed everyone, especially Issei. Drake, you should watch your words, Issei. If he were here and heard you, it is very possible that he would kill you on the spot, and if that were the case, you wouldn't even have my help to save you. Issei, what? Drake's cold words silenced the entire place. After all, the icy tone was very noticeable to them. Drake, remember that my species is very proud, and there is no doubt that our greatest pride is always our young, so hearing you say that about a topic of this importance is something I will not forgive again, you understand. After all, the incubi are the beings who adore their children the most, so I warn you. Watch your words regarding the Haida Issei subject, because if it happens that he appears to silence you, I will do nothing to prevent it, even if he eliminates you. You understand? Do not play with topics that you do not understand or that you understand, or else do not complain with the consequences. Issei, you can't be serious, can you, Drake? Drake, I warn you, be careful. I can accept many things from you because you are young and do not know the whole world, but I will not forgive you if this happens again. After all, dragons have the same sense of nurturing as incubi, so you are looking down on both the incubus race and me and my race, do you understand? The whole atmosphere suddenly turned cold while the gauntlet shone menacingly and after a few seconds disappeared, returning the place to normal under the gaze of everyone present. Even Rias fell silent upon hearing the words of the Welsh dragon. Lusty Eay was now in front of Sona's residence, so while waiting for her to let him in, he rang the bell so she would send one of her entourage members to look for him. While he waited, he noticed the scent of 2 more women inside. He had an idea of what she wanted to talk to him about, so with that information, he wondered what she would say if that turned out to be her reason for calling him. Or he would see what she would say and see if she could convince him otherwise. The gate of the residence immediately opened, revealing that Sona herself was the one who had come looking for him outside, which surprised him considerably, giving him a point for it. Lusty Eay, hi Sona, I'm glad you were the one who greeted me. Sona, Lusty Eay, it's nothing, after all I was the one who decided to do it since I want you to be my husband even knowing what you went through. Lusty Eay, I see, so can we go and so he can meet the girls who are with you in there? Sona, you felt them, didn't you? Lusty Eay, yes, let's say it is an innate ability of my race after all, and assuming you called me I have an idea of what you are trying to propose to me, which has to do with them and our commitment, right? Sona, you are very perceptive, the truth is that is why, but let me tell you everything before you give me your opinion please, this is so that our relationship works, right? Lusty Eay, okay, I thought I'd listen to you before deciding if I wanted to accept this from you. After all, you have your word on it because I said that due to my situation I should have more women. So if you want to give them the opportunity, then I at least want to know why you chose them, and if I can really accept them. Sona, thanks, you've relieved me of a burden by thinking you'd be upset with me for it, Lusty Eay. Lusty Eay, you shouldn't, besides, you've started to change from what I see. You're acting more like my wife unlike the time we saw each other. It seems the character changes have already begun due to that condition I have. Sona, really? I don't notice I'm any different. Lusty Eay, that's for the people who know you to decide. After all, you never know when things will change and when they won't. But it's the people who have known us for a long time who decide. Well, let's go in. They must be waiting for us, I guess. Sona, yes, let's go, Lusty Eay. Lusty Eay just followed her while looking at her from behind. It seemed that she was truly in love with him. That change was something fast, so the only thing that could cause it was the second condition of her race to find a partner. It seemed that she began to change a lot with respect to her previous personality that he knew with the previous talk he had with her. He hoped that this would not bother his acquaintances. After all, he cannot control those changes that he causes in the woman who falls in love with him. Chapter 12. Lusty Eay and Sona were entering the residence heading to the common room where the 2 guests were waiting for them. Although both were surprised to see how Sona ran towards the door to greet him, it was undoubtedly something unprecedented for them to see her behave like that. Seconds later they both heard a couple of steps and Sona appeared from the entrance while behind her Lusty Eay waited for her to introduce him. Sona, well, Seek and Latia. Latia, Seek, Vera, stop fighting. Sona, I wanted to introduce you to my fiancée Lusty Eay Lust. Latia, Lust? Is her last name really Lust in English? Lusty Eay, yes it is, it's my mother's last name before she had me as a young lady. Lusty Eay entered showing his young face despite his age, surprising Latia and Seek Vera. They didn't even imagine that he would look so young despite being the age of his mahoos. Without a doubt the first impression he gave them physically was quite positive. Latia, wow, I didn't expect that. Seek Vera. Lusty Eay, excuse me? Sona, don't worry, that happened to me too when I first saw you. Lusty Eay, I guess so, I think it was when I left the meeting in a hurry, right? Sona, yeah, I thought you'd be used to this kind of stares because of your condition. Lusty Eay, I'm just not using my incubation aura right now, so it's not that's fault they're like that. Sona, what? Lusty Eay, I think I should explain better. After the 2 heiresses came out of that state, and accompanied Sona and Lusty Eay to sit in the dining room, he proceeded to tell her what he mentioned before. Sona: "Hey Lusty Eay, tell me what you meant by incuba aura." Lusty Eay: "Well, I guess you two know my species too, right?" They both nodded to his question without stopping looking at him. Lusty Eay: "Well, as you know, my species, or half of my part of it, focuses on lust, therefore, we have related abilities that give us advantages when it comes to doing so. One of them is the incuba aura that manages to leave a favorable impression of us on the opposite hex. Basically, it is an essence that attracts women, to put it simply." Sona: "Aha, I got it. I was hoping there was something like that in you, but that doesn't explain why you told me you didn't have it active." Lusty Eay: "Well, with my experience, I managed to control it when I noticed that it was making it difficult for me to have a normal life among everything." Sona: "In what way do I make that difficult for you?" Lusty Eay: "Well, does it count being near a high school where there were only hormonal women who tried to kidnap me when I walked by when I didn't have it under control yet?" Sona: "Wait? You were the boy in Kyoto who was kidnapped by the high school 7 years ago." Lusty Eay: "Well, I may be a being that surpasses the physical capacity of a human, but during that time things happened and I ended up in a colossal orgy. Luckily, my fertility control was active, or else by now I would be the father of who knows how many children." Sona: Lusty Eay: "Okay, let's put that aside and get back to what we came for, shall we?" Sona: "I'll need to know more about your love life later, but for now, Sigvera, you can introduce yourself properly." Sigvera: "What? Oh yeah, sorry, nice to meet you, Mr. Lust. I'm Sigvera Agars, current heir to the Agars house and a friend of Sona." Lusty Eay: "Nice to meet you, Miss Agars." Sona: "Latia, your turn, stop drooling on my chair." Latia: "I'm not drooling, stupid." Sona: "Silly." Sigvera: "There is Satan." Lusty Eay was having a little fun with the situation, it had to be said. At least his previous melancholy disappeared with this. He expected another situation regarding Sona's two invited friends, but it seemed their prejudices against their race were strong. He should solve that as soon as he could. After all, it seemed these three were different until now. Each time the idea of accepting his engagement to Sona was more feasible, but he would need to see more to decide. Lusty Eay: "Well, let me introduce myself, Miss Latia. I'm Lusty Eay Lust, as I said before. Currently, as you know, I accepted the engagement with Miss Sona at her request, and therefore, I suppose that you would also be involved in that, from what I see, right?" They both stopped fighting when he spoke, so Latia was about to introduce herself, but his last sentence left them still in place. Lusty Eay: "Looks like I hit the nail on the head with the conversation, huh?" Sona: "If you did it, I guess you're used to it, or you concluded that you didn't." Lusty Eay: "It's easy to say. After all, you said that sooner or later I should have more heiresses engaged to me so that I am accepted by your race, right? So they should be the ones you had in mind and liked the most." Sona: "Well, I figured you'd catch on quickly." Lusty Eay: "Yes, it's happened before, but I'd like to hear what both of you think about this if possible. I think you already know what I think about having a formal relationship to the extent." Both heiresses just looked at each other while they thought for a few seconds what they would do or say. When they both finished and looked at each other, Sigvera was the first to speak. Sigvera: "To be honest, I didn't have a good impression on the subject at first. I even came to think that you used Sona to try to have more heirs in your power like the current male heirs of the underworld do. But Sona told me that it was her idea to want to take you as her fiancé. So I decided to see what you were really like after she told me the most important things about you regarding your species." Lusty Eay: "I understand. In fact, at first when I was notified that she wanted to talk to me, I had the same prejudice towards your species after old experiences. But I managed to see that she and you guys are not like that at the moment. So after that, and seeing that she was suffering from what we call sincere infatuation, I decided to give her the chance and test if she really felt that way about me. But to be honest with you, I also didn't expect that after telling her about my physiognomy regarding relationships she would propose to me to have more heiresses. Especially so that they accept her commitment to me on behalf of her government, and that the next day she would introduce me to her two friends." Latia: "I'm not her friend, I'm just accompanying Sigvera, who is Lusty Eay. Sona, stupid. Sigvera, just continue. Lusty Eay. It's normal between them to be like this. Lusty Eay, don't worry, I've been in front of two friends like that before. After all, a tsundere girl always says the opposite of what she feels, so they both understand each other. When Lusty Eay said the word tsundere, both Sona and Latia froze in their places. Sigvera just smiled at that as Lusty Eay watched as they both stood up straight and looked at them. Sigvera, I know what to do when they keep fighting now. It seems you have experience meeting women. Lusty Eay. Lusty Eay. I wouldn't say it like that. After all, 7 attempts went wrong. But due to my nightlife, by nature, it manages to leave me with a good knowledge of the way many types of women act. Sigvera. Lusty Eay. I'm an incubus. I basically live off of having relationships. It's my nature and there's no way to change it. So far I've managed to maintain it, but for that to end I need to be in a formal and sincere relationship, and I won't even be able to sleep with another woman other than the one who chose me. Sigvera, your race is not that complicated when it comes to relationships. Lusty Eay. Well, to tell you that most of the female world with power who tried what my race can do were amazed to the point of looking for us. I think that says it all, right? We incubi are a rather complicated race without a doubt. I say this from experience. Sona, that's why I hope I can get you to accept me completely so you don't have to do that, and you have just me and those I choose as such. I don't like others testing what will be mine if I can avoid it, but I have to wait for you to accept me before making it official and taking you as my husband. Lusty Eay. Wow. Sigvera, Sona, I didn't expect those words from you. Latia, shit. The three of them were surprised by how sudden and decisive Sona was in saying that, especially knowing her previous serious and cold way of being, especially Sigvera and Latia, who knew that she was not like that. Lusty Eay. I can see that the change is happening too quickly. Latia, change? Lusty Eay. Basically, we cause personality changes in the women who are destined to be our partners directly. Basically, a curse incubates that seeks to make the destined woman show us that she loves us. Latia. And where do we come into that, since I don't think it shows those changes? Lusty Eay. They are not necessary for me to fall in love. It can simply happen commonly. But on the other hand, Sona's situation prevents her from betraying me while the common ones can do it. Latia. As Sigvera said, your race is complicated in matters of love. Lusty Eay. I didn't deny it before, nor do I deny it now. Sigvera, can I ask you something personal? Lusty Eay. It's because of my previous relationship with Graia, right? Sigvera, what happened to make me leave you, if I may know? Lusty Eay. I don't know. One day he told me he had something to do and then he disappeared for a whole century, leaving me alone where we met and decided to start a family. I'm sorry if you wanted more details, but it's still a sensitive subject for me. Sigvera, I understand. Latia, wait, before you said you had 7 attempts, one was her right, what happened to the other 6? Lusty Eay, more of the same, they left me, abandoned me or changed me for someone else, each one with a different situation and action. Sona, Lusty Eay. Lusty Eay, don't worry, it bothers me, but I won't take it out on you for it. The reason I'm here is to move forward, and that's why I gave you the opportunity, Sona, to see if you really deserved it, which you're doing very well. Sona, thank you. Sigvera, well, I guess that would end up giving me everything I needed to decide. Sona trusted your way of deciding in situations, so seeing and hearing everything, I can say that you chose a good man without a doubt, so you can count on me for the commitment project with Lusty Eay. Sona, good, and what do you think about it, Latia? Latia, I don't know yet, I say understanding that he's a good match and all, especially seeing that he knows well what we want, but taking him as my husband and having to share him with my friend and you. Sona, Latia, it's a bit difficult. Lusty Eay, don't worry if you don't want it, I don't care, I have Sona and I hope Sigvera will also be with me if the opportunity arises to make her fall in love with me and for me to fall in love. Sona, scared. Latia, excuse me, what? Sona, you're a coward, That's why you'll end up engaged to a filthy heir. I'm giving you the chance to have a good married life with my partner, and you say that. You're a coward, no doubt, Latia. Latia, I'm not afraid of that. I'm afraid that if I'm with him, he'll put me in a higher position than you when he sees the woman I am. Sona, so? He wants to see you try. You couldn't even do it, not in front of me, who's much more of a woman than you are and will ever be. Latia, only an idiot would believe that with your meager, non-existent breasts. Sona, damn bitch, if you're so sure then let's bet. If you can't make him fall in love with you more than me then I'll accept that and leave him, while if you can't do it then you'll marry him as the third wife. Latia, I won't play that game. Sona, scaredy, I knew you wouldn't be woman enough to do it, you're just a spoiled brat. While they were fighting, Lusty Eay and Sigvera watched from the sidelines so as not to be compromised in their display of energy on their part. Lusty Eay, they are certainly very good friends, but shouldn't we stop them? Sigvera, leave them. Sona is trying to convince her to accept the relationship between them all. Lusty Eay, it wouldn't be forcing her. Sigvera, as you said, Latia is a tsundere, so she won't say what she thinks at first. Only then will she manage to get her out of her state of denial. Lusty Eay, without a doubt, even knowing about women doesn't end the path to unraveling their entire being. Sigvera, come let's talk for a while they discuss the terms. I want to know more about the man who will be my fiancé from now on. Lusty Eay, yes, I saw a room before arriving. We can discuss there so as not to be bothered by them, and don't worry, it will be just that and nothing more. Sigvera, because you clarify that. Lusty Eay, being an incubus has its things. Many times because of that I am misunderstood when I want to talk in private, especially with the fallen angels. Sigvera, I see, we'll have to look into that further. Lusty Eay, I'm a race specialized in hex. I don't know what else you want to know if that says it all. Sigvera, silly question on my part but still necessary. Lusty Eay, well I guess I should confess to my new fiancé while the first one fights with the possible third one. Chapter 13. Olympus. The gods were gathered in the throne room to talk about the recent fight of one of the main gods that ended in his defeat in front of everyone at the hands of a man unknown to many, especially since he was one of the sons of the king of Olympus. Zeus, I suppose everyone knows the reasons for this meeting, right? A few days ago a guy came to Olympus and Aries challenged him to a hand-to-hand fight. It wouldn't be surprising if it weren't for the fact that this guy humiliatingly defeated Aries in front of all of Olympus. I don't even know if this came to light to the rest of the supernatural. That a simple nobody would wipe the floor with one of the main gods is a disgrace to Olympus. I need all the information you can get about this guy who dared to tarnish the reputation of Olympus in this way. The rest of the gods began to converse among themselves after this regarding the subject of this individual, but Artemis raised her voice, attracting everyone's attention by mentioning that she knew the subject. Zeus, Artemis, my daughter, do you know who this man is? Artemis, yes, that despicable man is one of Aphrodite's lovers. That day when Aries challenged him to a battle he came to meet Aphrodite in her chambers. But before that he met Aries, which unleashed the duel between them that ended with his humiliation in front of everyone. Hera, so Aphrodite knows this guy. Tell me who this guy is, goddess of love. What is the name of the guy who embarrassed my son in front of everyone? Everyone turned their gaze to Aphrodite's seat, but when they did, they didn't see her there. Her seat was empty. There was no trace of her at the meeting, which confused everyone except one of the goddesses who had an idea of why she was missing. In Aphrodite's chambers all her muses were standing in front of the door of their goddess's room who, although she heard the trumpet of the meeting of the gods, did not come out of it or give any premise about it. They were all worried about their lady because since the confrontation between Mr. Aries and the man Lusty Eay she did not leave her room. They had even heard her sobs from time to time, giving them an idea of why she locked herself in Gremory Mansion. Things were bad in the Gremory family since Graia found out about many things regarding Lusty Eay. Rias, being the only one who was not affected in any way like her parents by this issue, was thinking of a solution to the problem of her sister-in-law, or rather ex-sister-in-law now. She did not know what to do. On the one hand, she was a little upset because she abandoned her brother after all this time by his side, as well as having a son in between them. But as a young woman who found herself in an almost identical situation about love, she did not know what to do. She understood that possibly her marriage to her brother was to prevent the elite of the council elders from arresting her when the war ended, so it was almost the same situation that she lived when she was engaged to Riser a while ago. She understood what she might feel at being forced to marry to maintain her freedom. Although she hoped that would change over time, coming to love her brother despite that. But now that that guy appeared, it seems that her heart never forgot him. She did not know what to do. His brother distanced himself from that day for obvious reasons, so he couldn't talk to him about his position on all this. But he understood that he gave him his blessing to go after Lusty Eay again. But what worries him most is Lusty Eay himself. If what his father and the Red Dragon Emperor said about him is true, he possibly doesn't even want to see Graia again, especially considering how he left the day of the meeting when he saw her again. He didn't know what he could do to make his family happy again as before. Rias, this is difficult and frustrating. Aquino, what's wrong, Rias? You seem worried about something. Rias, Aquino, sorry, I was thinking about how to solve this whole mess between Graia and my brother. Aquino, I don't think there's a solution, Rias. Maybe she doesn't understand the feeling she's going through now, but all of this is something that no one can digest easily, especially because she never thought that. Besides, it should be much more difficult for that man. He lost one of his chances to have children like Rias. That's not something that many can stand or that doesn't break them. I'm surprised how your father said that he didn't curse her for it. Rias, Aquino. Aquino, what would you do in that situation? Would you be different or the same? At least he didn't take revenge. I don't know why, but he didn't. But no one would deny that it would be fine if he did. Rias just remained thinking about what Aquino was saying, but the interruption of the rest of her entourage in the room stopped their conversation. It was time for them to return, since tomorrow they had to return to the human world, especially Aazel and Issei, who had to return home with his parents. While at Sona's home in the human world, the discussion she had with Latia had ended with her accepting her challenge to see who could make Lusty Eay fall in love more. Although he was a little reluctant, Sikvera's words calmed him down, so after talking for a while longer he decided to retire to rest a bit. Especially since he promised Sona to refrain from having relations until their commitment was given birth in the demonic society and was accepted. When that happened, she would take everything she had accumulated as his official wife, although Lusty Eay warned her of something. Lusty Eay, okay, I will abstain from having relations with other women, but let me give you a warning, Sona. When we are that day in our room, you will have to endure all my lust, and I can tell you that it will not be pleasant at all. It will be torturous and quite long-lasting, especially if the days go by. Sona. Latia, at what level are you talking about torturous pleasure, if I may ask? Lusty Eay, let's just say that not even the goddess of love can defeat me and her maidens. Sikvera, you were with Aphrodite? Lusty Eay, well, knowing about your special condition means I have to obey her to a certain extent. Sona, I hope your fun days are over. Lusty Eay, I assure you, I have no desire to go with her again. Latia, and why is that? I mean, she's the only one who can take more of your lust than the rest. Sikvera, you know we're engaged to him now, so you can tell him he can go with that woman, right? Lusty Eay, don't worry, the relationship I had with her ended for X reasons. From now on I will dedicate myself fully to you, if you accept me. Sona, so. Lusty Eay, yes, I decided to accept you, Sona. In these few days I saw that you were serious, so I would give you the chance. However, you still have to show me that you are worth wasting my last chance to have children of my full blood. For now, I will wait for that. I hope, and you understand. Sona, yes, I understand. At least you accepted me by your side. That's enough for me. Besides, it's still early for me to have children. Maybe we can discuss it later. What do you think? Lusty Eay, I think the idea is great, so with that I'm leaving. I have to gradually spend my energy on other things so that frustration doesn't build up inside me, or else I'm afraid I'll split you in half when it's our first night. Latia, you're joking, aren't you? Sona. Sikvera, from what I've heard about him, he never jokes about such things. Sona, you'd better think about having a set of phoenix tears for that night as insurance. Lusty Eay, Don't worry, I have ways to heal my partners when we have hex. It's a method to keep them alive if we get out of control or if we go too many days without doing it. Lusty Eay just smiled at them who were worried, but Sona was silent, holding her skirt with her hands tightly while her face was slightly flushed because of it. Lusty Eay approached her and kissed her forehead and said goodbye to the others. Lusty Eay headed towards the apartment where he was staying during his stay in Qua, especially because he noticed that someone had entered it, and it was an acquaintance. When he arrived, he found Aazel sitting on his sofa while drinking one of the wines that Lusty Eay had stored there. Lusty Eay, you know you're drinking one of the last wines made in the 1800s, right? Aazel, really? No wonder it's such a delicacy. You kept it hidden away, you bastard. We're friends. You should have given it to me as a gift. Lusty Eay, if you were more interested in tasting wines and not being locked away like a rat with your experiments, you'd have a wine collection like mine, you know. Aazel, then you try being the leader of a faction and see if you have time for that without getting in the way when you go out. Lusty Eay, well, I guess it's the luck of being the last one and that no one but a few knew of my existence until now. What are you doing here, Aazel? Did you come to hide because you slept with the daughter of again? Aazel, no, this time it's for different reasons, and we already resolved that. I came to tell you that the peace treaty meeting between factions is scheduled for a few days again, and I want you to be there to lead the DXD group. Lusty Eay, her. Aazel, no, this time it will be the Mahul Leviathan who will be on the side of the demons. Sir Shay is feeling unwell, and she is not in a condition to appear either. Lusty Eay, what a surprise. Well, when will the meeting be? Aazel, God, that's cold. You really don't want to face her, do you? Lusty Eay, no, now tell me the approximate date. Aazel, in a week from tomorrow. Won't you ask why she's unwell? Lusty Eay, if I were interested I would do it, but I don't want to know anything about her. It's because I live near her because of my commitment to Sona. Aazel, so you accepted her after all, right? Lusty Eay, I agreed to be with her in a relationship, but still not to waste my last chance to conceive a pure child of my kind. I decided to wait to see later, and she agreed. Aazel, I understand, then that would be all for my briefing. Now regarding the topic of your fight with the Olympic soldier. Lusty Eay, they're looking to get revenge on me for their fragile pride, aren't they? They can't accept that I wiped the floor with one of them so easily. Aazel, well, you know them well anyway, just tried to stay away from them for a while. Well, with what you told me before, I don't think it will be a problem. Now what do you think about going to the brothel nearby? Tonight there are new elections. Or we can go to Grigori's that surprises you so much. What do you think? Lusty Eay, I can't, you should go alone. Aazel, what? The Aries put a chastity belt on you or what, ha ha ha. Lusty Eay, I promised to stay away from other women until she could take me as her partner in front of her people, especially since I'm including 2 of her Aries friends as my partner in the future. Aazel, son of a bitch, you really like minors, right? Lusty Eay, says the fallen man of thousands of years who goes to clubs for young girls. Aazel, tush, well, who are the lucky ones besides the younger Citri? Lusty Eay, the heiress of Agars and Astaroth. Aazel, lucky you. Lusty Eay, I didn't ask for this, but I'm not complaining. They seem like 2 interesting young people, especially because the 3 of them are fun to be around. Aazel, you know that if this is so that the demonic council doesn't bother you, you must include a matriarch. No, they won't let you go with only 3 heirs. You need to have a woman of higher rank and experience so that they don't bother you. Lusty Eay, no, it will only be the 3 of them. I will see that later, and between Sona and I we will decide who enters and who does not enter our relationship. Aazel, you know what those old bastards are, so expect the worst for you from them. Don't trust those mummies to respect the agreement. Lusty Eay, I don't trust them, but they do try something. Lusty Eay just looked into Azazel's eyes as they turned white, surrounded by a red aura around them to return to normal, making Azazel nod. Chapter 14. Days passed since Lusty Eay met with Sona and her friends. From then on the 4 kept in constant contact to get to know each other better, because in exactly 1 month they would make their relationship known at the Hovens's Promesas meeting in the underworld, and with it the information regarding Lusty Eay about his race. The patriarchs of the three families also got to work on this. They were planning everything related to the engagement of their daughters to prevent the council itself from intervening in their favor when they showed up. Instead, the matriarchs put all their strength together in a mission much more important to them in their eyes: the preparations for their daughters' weddings with this charming incubus man who demonstrated his character days after everything was finalized by his daughters. Right now, Lusty Eay was sitting at home on the couch waiting for the appointed time to head to the new meeting at the Academy of the Three Biblical Factions. Although he knew that that woman was possibly present, he still had to show himself. Because right now, apart from having the duty to be the leader of this new group, he also had to say that he was engaged to three heiresses of the underworld. Without a doubt, he had to introduce himself to them. Lusty Eay, at least I'll stop having to hide from this. Luckily, it's just one of them. Ring ring ring. Lusty Eay's personal cell phone vibrated in his hand, so knowing the short list of contacts he had, he opened it and checked the name of the contact, it being Aazel. Curious about what he wanted to tell him, he answered the call. Lusty Eay, Aazel, what's going on? Was the meeting cancelled or did something happen? Aazel, something happened. Lusty Eay, we have good news and bad news regarding today's meeting. Lusty Eay, what's that? What happened? Aazel, tell me what you want to know first. Lusty Eay, the good or the bad? Lusty Eay, Aazel, I'm not in the mood for games right now. Aazel, go ahead, just try it. Lusty Eay, I'm sure you'll like it, and at the same time it will make you stop thinking about what will happen tonight. Lusty Eay, Aazel speaks at once. Aazel, oh please, just try it, it will really help you. Lusty Eay, speak now, bastard son of the dead old man. Aazel. Lusty Eay, start singing already. Aazel, or I swear you'll wish you didn't bother me in this situation. I'm not very charismatic today because of this, so don't provoke me. Aazel, well, the good news is that this time Issei will not be attending the meeting for obvious reasons, but instead the Mahu Beelzebub will be coming, which means she will not appear. Lusty Eay, that's definitely the good one. Now try to make the bad one change my mood if you can. Aazel, Penemy will be present at the meeting as my companion. Lusty Eay. Aazel, that would be all, friend. I'll see you at the meeting in an hour. Bye bye. Aazel suddenly cut the call without waiting for Lusty Eay's response, who was staring at the cell phone in his hand, the vein in his forehead clearly indicating what he thought about it. Elsewhere, Sona Citri was in the school's principal's office preparing everything for the imminent meeting that would take place in an hour between the three factions. Her entourage was by her side also helping, but everyone could tell that their president wasn't entirely happy for one reason. 2 days before the meeting, Graia and Rias's entourage returned. Sona was waiting for her friend Rias in the student council room because she was returning today to deal with the matter of the meeting that was postponed for 2 days in her territory for obvious reasons. But she didn't count on her having another idea in mind for their meeting, an idea that didn't sit well with Sona for simple reasons. Sona, Rias, I won't tell you anything about Lusty Eay. Remember that we were forbidden to reveal information about him by the three leaders, and from what I see you didn't respect that. Rias, Sona, this is something important, for Graia and my brother. Sona, no, this is the last thing I'll say regarding Rias. We should focus on the meeting itself. We'll be hosting them, and we need to get everything ready to welcome them back. Rias, atone. Sona, excuse me Rias, but I have important duties to do. Unlike you, I don't have time to waste with you regarding the subject. Sona just left there while listening to Rias complaining in the background. She knew well that she would do whatever it took to find out everything about Lusty Eay even after his refusal to give her any information about it, so when she buried her engagement to him things would get worse, but she certainly didn't care. After all, now she had a duty, and above all she had to prepare her mind to report it possibly at that meeting, since she would end up facing Lusty Eay right there because of his character that she knew well over the years. Currently Sona just sighed to herself because since that day Rias had been so insidious and insistent on the subject, but she just cut the conversation short when she started avoiding talking to her about it, which made her act more aggressive than usual, having to be grateful that she was a noble so Rias could do nothing but deny her to her face. Without a doubt this affected their friendship greatly, but she couldn't always satisfy her ego even though they were friends and acquaintances from childhood. Tsubaki, who noticed Sona's state, approached her with a cup of tea to calm her down. Sona, seeing the cup, stopped what she was doing and proceeded to drink it slowly, calming her mind from all the pessimistic thoughts she was facing. Sona, thanks Tsubaki for that, I really needed it. Tsubaki, I know Sona, after all Rias has been very insistent these 2 days due to the Lusty Eay issue. Her attitude was undoubtedly quite unseemly towards you despite being of the same social status. Sona, well, I understand that all this ended up affecting your family greatly with what happened between Lusty Eay and Graia, but even so your insistence was too brutal, even though you have been friends since childhood. Tsubaki, in any case, at least she did her part of her duty regarding tonight's meeting, although it may only be so that she finally confronted Lusty Eay during it for his pleasure. Sona, I had it covered, that's why I'm like this in part. I know she will possibly try to provoke him to talk or to give information about it. They both just looked at each other as Sona finished her cup of tea and looked at the contents. Tsubaki, Sona, are you planning to reveal your engagement tonight? Sona just looked at the ceiling of the hall thoughtfully, and returned her gaze to Tsubaki a few seconds later, not before looking around the hall, noticing that the entire entourage was waiting for her answer. Sona, although I would like to keep the matter anonymous until the meeting in a month, Rias will surely provoke me to end up talking about it to stop her attack on Lusty Eay using the excuse of her relationship with Graia. So if necessary I plan to reveal it in the meeting to stop her, just to have it already said. The idea is to have Search's support if possible, although. Tsubaki, you don't know if he'll allow it because of his marital situation, right? Sona, that's one of the issues. I don't know if the news will make him attack Lusty Eay, and although it's true that he's Azazel's friend, the topic regarding his wife is somewhat strong. Momo, but maybe when he hears that he's engaged to you he'll put that aside thinking that he's not interested in his wife anymore. Sona, it's possible, but that would have to wait until the end of the meeting. Before then, it wouldn't be possible to make this known because the reason for this is to talk about the group we'll form for these cases. Tsubaki, and during all that time, it's possible that something could happen between the two of them, which would end in an undoubted confrontation between the two of them. Sona, exactly, and seeing the relationship Lusty Eay has with our race, he won't let them intimidate him. Yura, so we'll be in the middle of a two-man fight that will possibly end in an all-out brawl in front of everyone? Sona, possibly, but it's not entirely likely. We'll only know when we're there. In the meantime we should finish our work to prepare for the designated meeting time. Everyone nodded at their mistress's words and continued with their duties while Sona thought about everything that could happen tonight around her fiancé, although without knowing it, in a few moments she will receive a notice that will greatly change her situation regarding the absence of Sir Shay, who will be replaced by Beelzebub. Although that would pose another separate problem regarding Lusty Eay and his identity. In the occult club room the situation was quite bad. Rias's entourage watched as the aforementioned was totally upset with Sona after spending 3 whole days without giving her any information she knew about the Lusty Eay guy who caused so many problems in her family since he appeared. Aquino, Rias, we should prepare for the meeting in an hour. Rias, Aquino, I don't care about that meeting, after all my brother won't be there. But Ajuka will. What really matters to me is knowing more about that guy who caused all the commotion in our family with his arrival and his story with Graia. Aquino, you know he'll show up at the meeting, so you could ask him directly instead of trying with Sona. Rias, who was thinking about how to make Sona give her what she wanted, quickly realized what her queen suggested. She could use that to her advantage. After all, even if Sona tried to stop her, she would be in front of him to provoke him enough to make him speak under the gaze of everyone present. This brought a smile to Rias's face, who quickly left to prepare for the meeting under the worried gaze of her entourage, who, upon seeing her disappear, turned their gaze towards Aquino. Asia, Aquino-san, do you think it was wise to say that to Rias in her current state? Aquino, who looked at the place where Rias disappeared, just sighed and looked at the rest of her group members worriedly. Aquino, I don't know, Asia, maybe I did something wrong by manipulating her like that to get her ready, but we need her to be attentive at the meeting, it's important for everyone. Kiba, You know that it's possible that Rias will end up provoking the subject by attacking him, knowing that he's not to blame for everything that happens to her brother, right? Aquino. Issei. I think Rias is right. After all, he caused that by appearing again in front of Graia. I think she has the complete disposition to confront him about it. Kaneko, perverted idiot. Everyone watched as before Issei spoke the glove on Issei's hand appeared and Drake's tone of voice the next second was quite serious with what he said. Drake, if you provoke him, he will end up using the curse on her and Graia. You will only make him angry with you in vain when the only innocent one in this whole mess is him. Without a doubt she will end up causing another bigger problem due to her stupidity and arrogance. Issei, don't talk about her like that, Drake. She has every right to reproach him. After all, it's her fault that a part of her family is separated. Before the others could even speak up, Drake's next words left a cold silence in the room. Drake, if you provoke him and he decides to eliminate you, I will not help you. I already gave you my warning. You have no value in this problem, not even the spoiled redhead. You will only make him release all his hatred towards you with this. And if you try to attack him, I can assure you, Issei, that, even if you asked me or your life is in danger, I will not give you a single bit of my power to defend yourself from him. I will let him finish you off and wait for my next host. You will only end up causing his end at the hands of a being who accumulated centuries of resentment in his heart. You are warned. Drake made his glove disappear from there, leaving everyone in silence, and although Issei reproached him for appearing, he did not respond again, although he tried to summon him, leaving everyone worried when they saw that he was leaving them alone in that, with his warning over their heads regarding Lusty Eay.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.